Part of a campaign to encourage young people of all abilities to take up sport and be more active.
1, 2, 3, go!
These children are taking a series of diagnostic tests to find out which sports they have a natural aptitude for. The results go into a computer. As a nation, we're getting fatter, and to stop this Middlesex group from becoming couch potatoes, world-class advice is at hand.
I'm not here to create Olympic champions. What I'm trying to do is trying to find a sport for everybody, because what happens is after you do all the tests and you get all your results, you go and put them into a computer and it comes out with maybe 20 or 30 sports that you might be physically suited to. Doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be any good.
Get set, go!
Daley Thompson hopes to take this Sport ID project, which has already worked in Australia, to different locations in Britain, assessing thousands of youngsters over a short period.
Before I came here, I thought sport wasn't very interesting, but once I've come here, it seems that sport's really good and it's fun. It takes your height and your speed and things like that, and it lets you know if you're good at rounders or netball and things like that. It's good because they can get in to know what's their favourite sport instead of sitting at home watching TV all the time.
1 in 3 children takes practically no exercise, preferring computer games to sport, with damaging long-term consequences.
People have found that inactivity can lead in future life to as many problems as smoking or high blood pressure can lead to.
School holidays are a good test of whether youngsters enjoy active play. Here in Orpington, Kent, the council, backed by the Health Education Authority, has started its summer activity programme already. But the emphasis here is on fun and fairly simple activities.
A computer will be useful for those children who are good at sport and have a natural ability, but really for us we're interested in the children having fun so that they'll continue with a healthy habit of exercising.
Daley Thompson's computerised assessments of children's sporting ability could be a useful tool, but the key message from health educators is that all children need to acquire a lifelong habit of low-tech exercise. Wesley Kerr, BBC News, Orpington.
Tony Blair became the first Prime Minister in almost 20 years to campaign in a by-election when he visited Uxbridge today. His visit came as a former Labour candidate announced his defection to the Conservative Party just a week before the poll. Our political correspondent Carolyn Quinn reports from Uxbridge.
Well done. Hello there. I voted for you. Good. Please come out and do it again.
A prime ministerial visit always attracts attention, but these crowds in Uxbridge were witnessing history in the making as Tony Blair joined the campaign trail. Despite the turnout today, there is unhappiness locally that the candidate who reduced the Tory majority in May has been replaced by another, chosen by the party's by-election panel. The Prime Minister, though, was brushing such concerns aside.
What counts for Uxbridge is to have someone who's thoroughly New Labour, total supporter of mine, going down to Westminster and making the case for the people of Uxbridge. And if I were here, that's what I'd do. Okay. Thanks very much.
The Conservatives are seeking to capitalise on what they say is the government's arrogance. The party chairman, Lord Parkinson, today staging a news conference to unveil a defector from Labour. A former Labour parliamentary candidate, he tried to be selected in Uxbridge. Now, though, he says he's had enough.
I know that there is deep concern within the Labour Party at the way the government is behaving and the way the party machine is becoming centralised and overriding the wishes of local constituency activists.
Local Labour activists unhappy at the selection process here in Uxbridge aren't going as far as Michael Shrimpton, but they are claiming that at least 30 of them are refusing to help on the campaign. Labour sources here, however, say that the campaign is unaffected, and as for Michael Shrimpton, they say he's acting purely out of sour grapes.
I don't think it's to be taken too seriously at all. It was someone who was seeking the Labour nomination, and when that was rejected has decided to bizarrely defect to the Conservative Party.
With the campaign hotting up, the former Defence Secretary chose today to offer his support.
Hello, Michael Hello.
Dismissing suggestions that it should have been him fighting the seat. The Liberal Democrats too brought out one of their former MPs.
Our candidate has full support of our members here, and I believe he is the best candidate to represent the people here in Parliament, given the circumstances we have today.
The Prime Minister's visit was designed to boost Labour's chances, which party sources admit are by no means guaranteed, as this is natural Tory heartland. Whatever next week's result, Tony Blair's parliamentary supremacy won't be dented. But all the parties know that as a test of his new government, it surely counts. Carolyn Quinn, BBC News, Uxbridge.
There are 11 candidates contesting the Uxbridge by-election. It was caused by the death of the Conservative MP Sir Michael Shersby, who had a majority of 724 at the general election in May.
The Roman Catholic Church in Texas has been ordered to pay compensation of £72 million to former altar boys who were sexually abused by a priest. The court found the church guilty of gross negligence in failing to protect the boys. Father Rudolf Koss had abused 11 children, one of whom later committed suicide.
9 civil servants who were sacked from GCHQ in Cheltenham in 1988 staged a symbolic return to work this afternoon. They were amongst the last to lose their jobs after Margaret Thatcher banned trade unions at the top-secret listening base in 1984. The ban was lifted when Labour won the general election.
After years of battling for recognition, the former GCHQ workers arrived at Britain's spy centre knowing the Cold War was over for them. They were joined by some trade union leaders offering their support, and it was a time of mixed emotions for the linguists, technicians and radio operators who were sacked for their beliefs.
It's great, especially for those who are going in and going to get a job again. It's really marvellous.
Bit of trepidation. It's the fulfilment of a 13-year-long dream, really, and to be invited back, not to have to force our way back in, it makes it special.
It was 1984 when Margaret Thatcher banned the unions from GCHQ. They were perceived to be a security threat. For years, the trade union movement campaigned and demonstrated for recognition, but it wasn't to be, until the new Labour government decided to reverse the ban. Now the sacked workers will have to negotiate terms and conditions. Some are too old to go back, others are not, and there are 3 demands.
The restoration of full trade union rights, which the people inside haven't had for 13 and a half years. Secondly, reinstatement to jobs of our sacked members who haven't reached the age of 60 and wish to go back. And thirdly, we believe we're entitled to a degree of compensation for lost salaries, wages and pension rights.
Right, to those at GCHQ, victory.
So it was a day of celebration for the sacked 14, even though only 9 turned up. They said that over the years, they've never had to sacrifice their principles. Stephen Cape, BBC News, Cheltenham.
A railway company wants to recruit commuters to work as part-time guards while they travel to and from their main job. Great Eastern Railway says that in return for free travel and a salary, they'd have to make announcements, close doors and give the all clear for the trains to leave with them on board. The Train Drivers' Union called it a half-baked scheme that would compromise safety.
Great Eastern says it hasn't been able to recruit enough people of the right calibre to be guards. So it's looking for commuters to act as part-time guards on their journeys to and from work. They'll get free season tickets worth up to £3,500 a year, and they'll be paid £5.25 an hour. Great Eastern says the new guards will be properly trained.
We have standards that we have to train our staff to, and we have them assessed to a rail track standard or an industry standard, and these guards, as anybody else coming off the open market, will be trained and assessed to those standards.
But unions representing railway workers attacked the scheme as half-baked. They said safety would be compromised and that commuters would not be able to perform all the functions of a guard.
These trains will be full of commuters. They'll get on these trains, blow the whistle, wave a flag and think that that's their job done. But when there is an emergency situation, how will these people react?
The rail regulator said the safety authorities would have to approve Great Eastern's plan. Its potential recruits seemed rather bemused.
Still don't think it'd tempt me. I wish them luck though.
Could be useful. I haven't got anything at the moment, so anything's better than nothing, I guess.
Great Eastern is not the first railway company to experience staff shortages. It believes it's come up with an imaginative solution. But to those who oppose to railway privatisation, it's an example of how the new operators are prepared to cut corners. Greg Wood, BBC News, at Liverpool Street Station.
Australia have the upper hand in the 4th test against England at Headingley. On the second day, England were bowled out for 172, with Jason Gillespie taking 7 wickets for 37. In reply, Australia passed that score for the loss of only 4 wickets.
Day 2 began with England looking relatively comfortable until Jason Gillespie was brought into the attack, his first ball seeing off Dean Headley. It was to prove quite a day for the Australian. England's decline was rapid as Atherton's effort ended, not for the first time this series, when he mishooked McGrath. Graham Thorpe self-destructed, attempting a pull shot but scattering his own stumps. John Crawley's dismissal owed much to fortune, the ball bouncing off Greg Blewett's boot before he could cling on to it. The debut innings of Mike Smith lasted just 2 balls. Gillespie's 7th wicket giving him the best test figures by an Australian on this ground. England's last 6 batsmen had fallen for 18. In front of his home crowd, Darren Gough produced the faintest of touches from Mark Taylor before the Australians had scored a run. Blewett and Mark Waugh went 2, and Mike Smith should have had his first test wicket, but Thorpe dropped this chance from Matthew Elliott. The prize wicket of Steve Waugh went to Headley, Crawley taking a reflex catch. That was 50 for 4, but having taken a grip of proceedings, England let it slip, Elliott making the earlier miss look ever more vital. By the time he had reached his century, his side had eased past England's first innings total. And with Ricky Ponting scoring a half-century on his return to the team, Australia were dominant, reaching 256 for 4 a short time ago, a lead of 84. James Helm, BBC News.
Ben Hogan, one of the world's greatest golfers, has died at his home in Fort Worth, Texas. He was 84 and had been ill for some time. Hogan won the US Open a record 4 times and was one of only 4 players to have captured all of the Grand Slam golfing events. He went on to win 37 tournaments, ending with the Open at Carnoustie in 1953.
A television company's decision to look outside Yorkshire for bleak, windswept locations to film the latest version of Wuthering Heights has not surprisingly led to a row. Lady Thatcher's former press secretary, Sir Bernard Ingham, who was raised in Bronte country, says the film industry just looks for romance rather than authenticity. But the producers, London Weekend Television, have defended their decision to look for the best location.
The first silent film version of Wuthering Heights in 1920 was shot on the Yorkshire moors, but has since been lost. The location of William Wilder's 1939 melodrama with Laurence Olivier and Merle Oberon, conveniently for Hollywood, was California.
You and I never change.
Luis Buñuel tried a Latin American setting, again achieving only melodrama.
No te separes más de mí.
While the French version looks like umpteen other glum period dramas trudging through muddy rural France. If ever a film setting was of central importance, it's with Wuthering Heights. But those behind the latest attempt say finding a real location to match the Yorkshire of Emily Bronte's imagination isn't so easy.
Yorkshire isn't the nice, rural, quiet place it was when Emily Bronte was writing. It's actually quite a thriving county. There's industry there. There are busy main roads. You can find the most idyllic farmhouse in the world, but it's no use if there's a bus station right next to it or pylons visible behind it. When you're doing period, you can't actually afford to have something that is clearly very 1990s and very populated. So it's possible we may have to be looking outside.
The Bronte Society and other Yorkshire-born lovers of Bronte country are outraged that alternative locations like Exmoor and Cornwall should even be considered.
Well, it's absolute bunkum. But you don't expect the film industry to be concerned with authenticity, do you? I mean, let's face it, they use any convenient desert to film westerns, and they filmed Antarctica inside Pinewood.
But, he argues, should extra government money go to an industry that doesn't bother with authentic British settings? Previous Wuthering Heights have been stage sets, but promoters of filmmaking in the region remain optimistic.
Yorkshire will not be forgotten and Yorkshire will be used, and Yorkshire may well be used as for the entire locations. Any good location manager will look all over the country at all possible locations before they make the final decision.
Tess was filmed in France, Braveheart partly in Ireland. With Wuthering Heights, filmmakers must again decide which is more important, the right address or the right mood. Andrew Burrows, BBC News.
From Yorkshire to Cornwall and beyond, have a great weekend. The next national news is at 9 o'clock.
But from everyone on the 6th, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. No real let-up yet in Central Europe. They had some heavy showers today and they're likely to have some more showers over the weekend. You can see the showers on the satellite picture. There were also some showers and thunderstorms in the Mediterranean, southern Italy and into Greece. But of more interest to us is this little bump of cloud that's beginning to develop and push in towards the south of Ireland. That's a new and developing area of low pressure. At the moment, though, we have shower clouds scattered across the country. The ones in the north thick enough to give those showers, some of them quite heavy, but they're going to be dying away. And in any case, I think most places will have a fine end to the day and then settling into a fine night. But that new weather system will be pushing cloud and rain across Ireland, and eventually before the night's out it'll be getting into Wales and the southwest of England as well, where incidentally it'll end up quite a warm night, temperatures dropping back to about 10 degrees in other places. Then we pick up that area of low pressure tomorrow, moving across Ireland and eventually heading in towards northern areas of England. You probably notice there's a fair number of isobars packed in there as well. So if you are contemplating taking out a small boat this weekend, bear in mind that around the coast of Wales, southwest England, and later right the way through the Channel, there will be quite a strong southwesterly wind picking up at around about 4-6 or so, so a bit of a choppy sea coming along there. Weather-wise, for many parts, central and eastern areas, starting off dry and bright, but we're already finding the cloud and rain gathering across Ireland into Wales and the southwest, turning misty too, fog rolling in around the coast and lapping the hills. And during the course of the morning we're going to find outbreaks of rain working their way right across most of England and Wales up into southernmost parts of Scotland. At the same time, in central and northern areas of Scotland, that cloud bubbling up to eventually give some showers, and some of those showers could be quite heavy and thundery. Now we're going to find a good deal of cloud for the second half of the day across the country, still with some bursts of rain, the odd heavy one, but I think one or two sheltered spots may well find that the sun does painfully try and break through as the day goes along, but not around western coast or indeed the south coast, where it's going to stay quite grey and misty. So a bit of a question mark over the temperatures. Most places around about 20-21 degrees or so, and in the north a little bit on the cool side. But if you do find that sun breaking through, then a very warm, sticky 25 degrees. Some showers over northern hills first during the course of Sunday, some rain in the northeast to begin with, otherwise settling into a dry and bright day.
The Bookworm is back on BBC One. We're looking at the nation's favourite book, The Lord of the Rings, its author and his childhood days in Birmingham.
It still sells over 5 million copies a year.
We're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We're joining John Mortimer on his latest publicity tour, and we're uncovering the tragedy of Rudyard Kipling's lost son. The Bookworm, the new series, begins Sunday at 4:40 on BBC One.
This is BBC One for the Eastern Counties. Now the region's news with Stuart White and Susie Fowler-Watt in Look East.
On Look East tonight, research centre under threat after allegations of animal cruelty.
We pay tribute to England's highest scoring batsman.
And what's the best recipe for a brilliant barbecue?
Hello and welcome to Look East. Our top story tonight, the government is threatening to close 2 research centres in the region following allegations of animal cruelty.
1,400 people will lose their jobs if Huntingdon Life Sciences loses its licence to operate. The firm, which carries out experiments on animals, has laboratories in Huntingdon and Ockhold in Suffolk. Its shares have been suspended on the stock exchange.
We have a right to know what goes on. Why are you...
Animal rights activists have been campaigning for years to end animal experiments here at Huntingdon Life Sciences. Now, in an unprecedented move, the government says the company could be shut down altogether for breaching its licence.
I'm going to ask you for a second time to move.
We're very worried about what goes on here. It's not just the sort of thing that we worry about on the weekends or worry about in set times. It's something that consumes all of us.
Well, it makes you wonder. These people claim what they're doing is to help people. We know that animal experiments tell us nothing about people. We know that many of the drugs they produce have horrendous side effects on people.
The chief executive of the company spoke to Look East, but was too frightened to talk on camera.
I can say to you unequivocally that we have corroborative evidence that an individual punched a beagle on November the 28th, 1996. We, at the beginning of April, took decisive action with that individual, and there is absolutely no suggestion that there is widespread mistreatment of animals at any of our research establishments.
The work of the centre has often been criticised. In 1989, these photographs were published showing the disturbing conditions in which dogs were kept. Changes were made then, but the British Union for the Abolition of Vivisection say they weren't enough and they don't deserve to have their licence renewed. In March this year, the Home Office asked the police to investigate and launch their own inquiry. 5 workers were singled out for criticism. 2 now face criminal proceedings for cruelty. The Home Office Minister, Lord Williams, said he was extremely concerned. The investigation showed shortcomings relating to the care, treatment and handling of animals, and the establishment was not appropriately staffed and animals were not at all times provided with adequate care.
These people are getting away with murder!
Already, some big customers aren't renewing contracts, and the workers at Occult in Suffolk and Huntingdon fear for their jobs. Unless the company meets stringent conditions by November, the government could effectively close it down. Huntingdon Life Sciences is a company which feels itself under siege. It's understood that since the investigation was launched, multinationals have not renewed their contracts here. And today, shares in the company were suspended on the stock market. Tonight, it's a company battling for survival. Amanda Goodman, Look East in Huntingdon.
Stay with us on Look East for a country fair by royal appointment. That's after the news from your part of the region. Now the news close up from Suffolk, Essex and Norfolk.
A unique scheme to protect children has been set up in Essex. It's the first of its kind in the country and encourages young people to use shops as shelters if they feel in danger.
The sign of a safe haven for youngsters. Up to 6 shops in Braintree will display this sticker and act as a refuge for any child who's lost, frightened or feeling threatened by another person. The scheme is the idea of a local mother whose campaigning has won the backing of many in the town.
They can run to one of these safety places and go in there and they'll be welcomed and given help straight away. The police will be called in all instances and the child will be kept safe until the police arrive and deal with the situation.
Now, how are you going to check that these places themselves are safe for children?
Well, there's no need to check unless it was to go into private homes. In that case, obviously, then there would be a check. But this isn't the case at the moment. We're only talking about shops and other public places in which children would be able to go into in any case already.
The Safe Place scheme has also won the support of Essex Police.
This is a big factor in making people feel safer, rather than addressing a serious problem. It's to make people feel safer.
With the school summer holidays in full swing, there are many more children around the town centre. Parents shopping today thought the scheme would improve their safety.
It's somewhere safe for your children to go if they're in danger or, you know, they're in trouble. It's nice to know that they've got somewhere that they can run to and feel safe.
That's a very good scheme. Well, it's nice to think that my son could go to somewhere and know that he'd feel safe. So, no, it's very good.
I feel a lot safer when I see the yellow sticker.
Another 12 shops in the town are being considered for the scheme, and there are hopes it will be extended across the country. Kevin Bentley, Look East in Braintree.
A man who bought a dream retirement home has been landed with a bill for an extra £25,000 because the house has just become listed. Now, instead of fitting new plastic windows, he's been told to fit solid wood.
Within weeks of moving into his dream home, Michael Cousins was beginning work on double glazing his windows in readiness for the winter. Just before buying, he had checked to see if the building was listed and was told it wasn't. But 12 weeks later, he was informed by the local council that it now was, and work on the windows would have to stop.
And they told us that we couldn't have the plastic windows. So we asked the wood company to come in, and they came in at a price of $33,000, which was no way we could afford that.
When he bought the house, the question was asked, is it a listed building? And it was not a listed building. We have a draft list come through from the Department of National Heritage, but that's confidential.
It can literally take years to get a property listed, and for this reason the Department of National Heritage asks councils not to tell people that their homes are under consideration. The fear is that if they found out, they may be tempted to carry out work which would be illegal once the property became listed. But councils are increasingly sympathetic towards people like Mr Cousins, and St Edmundsbury does now tell prospective purchasers if their homes are on a draft list. None of this, though, is much comfort for Mr Cousins. He'll probably be entitled to some financial aid for his windows, but he must now face the fact that they will cost far more than he'd intended. Andrew Sinclair, Look East.
A group of children from an orphanage in Romania have been getting a taste of something most of us take for granted: ice cream. The youngsters are taking a break from their routine back at home.
Sometimes you just can't get enough of a good thing, even if it's as simple as ice cream. But under Ceausescu's legacy, these children have been starved of even the simple pleasures in life. Away from the Spartan routine of a Romanian orphanage, 15 children are on holiday in Ipswich. Indulging in the delights of Peter's ice cream has been one of the highlights of their trip.
We ran a special machine in the factory for the youngsters who may have not seen ice cream much before in their lives to make as much as they wanted to, and it was really worthwhile when you saw the expressions on their faces.
Happy birthday to you. Their month-long visit has been organised by the Ipswich charity Romanian Child Action, and for many it's been their first taste of family life.
I've known these children since 1990, and the change in them has been miraculous. One of them used to just lie on the floor, just tossing from side to side, as Romanian children do, screaming like a wounded animal. And she's here now. She's speaking English. You just took a picture of her. You won't know which one it was. She's just like all the rest.
8-year-old Danielle has enjoyed the love and attention of his host family. He's become so attached to Mrs Farnhill, he's now referring to her as his mummy.
He's very, very active, so it's quite tiring because he can do so much. He's 8 and he can do an awful lot. So he wants to answer the phone, zip to the microwave and open the car and shut the car, and everything he sees us do he wants to do. But he's really eager to do things, and he's lovely.
Danielle, what do you think of your mummy?
What do you think of me? Ah.
But like all good things, the children's holiday must come to an end. They'll return to Romania next week, taking with them clothes and gifts from the charity, and of course the hope that one day they can enjoy a family life of their own. Melissa Jackson, Look East, Ipswich.
Some great pictures, and the children will be performing at a farewell concert. They'll be performing Romanian folk songs at the Wolsey Theatre in Ipswich on Sunday evening.
Steam enthusiasts in Norfolk are preparing for a railway milestone this weekend. The Mid-Norfolk Railway Preservation Trust is to run a steam locomotive from the film The Railway Children for a 1-month trial period. It will take passengers on a 2-mile route from Dereham. The group hopes eventually to run trains along a 16-mile route into Norwich Station.
Still to come in Look East, the #1 fan of Gooch the Man.
And thunder in the grass. Meet one of the stars of the game fair.
The weather hasn't been quite right for a barbecue or picnic today, but if you're planning to brave the elements this weekend, be warned.
Just because you're outside, it doesn't mean you can forget about food hygiene. In fact, you're more likely to get food poisoning when you eat al fresco. In the last of our series on summertime safety, Alex Dunlop has been down to the quay at St Ives in Cambridgeshire.
Well, there's no better way to see out the safety strand, is there, than on a boat with a drink and a sumptuous spread. With me is a MasterChef finalist, Connie Stevens. Lovely food that you prepared for us, Connie, but potentially this is very dangerous.
Yes, it is, particularly in this lovely sunshine. The temperature needs to be, the food needs to be kept quite cool for transportation. And if you are taking it on a picnic and you're in a car, it's very important that you put the food away from direct sunlight. That is particularly important because you may be in the car for half an hour or so getting to your destination. And when you arrive at your destination, if you can, try and leave the food in the shade. We actually have it here in the direct sunlight, but it is important that if you can, put your picnic in the shade.
Now, of course, transporting it from A to B, we've got some shots of you putting it into a cool box. Just talk us through this.
Well, this is particularly important. You need to have a cool box or a cool bag, and you need ice packs. They need to be kept in the fridge for appropriate length of time to keep them frozen, and you need to pack your picnic just before you're departing, and keep all your food in the fridge. That's particularly important too, so that everything is kept cool. Of course, Alex, we're here on a boat today, but the important thing to remember if you're on a boat or if you're at home is the thermostat on your fridge. It must be turned up during the warmer summer months.
Well, a lot of food we take outside, we cook outside on a barbecue, but how do you prepare it? Here's a man to tell you how.
Look at this. Too many leaves that can catch fire. Bad place for a barbecue. Better to have it out in the open on stable, level ground. My charcoal's already in, just putting the wooden splints in and newspaper to get the barbecue well and truly lit. You must use proper fire lighters on a barbecue, not paraffin or petrol. They're asking for trouble. There we go. We're now ready to light the barbecue. Remember to light it at least 2 hours before you want to eat.
Right, we're now in the back garden of Connie's tea rooms, and just a reminder, Connie's just told me don't wear shorts when you do a barbecue, obvious reason. When it comes to the food, what pointers have you got for us?
Well, before cooking the food, it's important, as you can see, I have a long mitt and long-handled utensils. That's really important because if any of the fat spits out, you've got to keep yourself protected, and an apron. You could get burnt. The other thing to remember is to keep raw food and cooked food well away from each other. Have a small table close by, as we have here, but keep cooked meats and raw meats well apart. That's particularly important for cross-contamination. The other thing is when you're cooking the food, as you can see on the barbecue here, we're cooking small pieces of meat. If you're not sure if the meat is cooked properly and safely, then you should just put a knife in. If the juices are running out pink, then it's not cooked enough.
Now, a friend of mine insists on putting frozen pieces of chicken onto the barbecue, and he says it's perfectly...
No, never ever cook frozen foods. If you have frozen food that you want to cook on the barbecue, then make sure that you thaw it completely before you cook it.
Right, I feel vindicated. This food is ready to cook, but before we dive into it, here are just a few more tips.
So 3 top tips for barbecue safety. Position the barbecue in stable, open ground, use proper fire lighters, and have a fire extinguisher nearby.
First of all, keep the food in the fridge until the very last moment. Then, when you do have the food outside, keep the raw foods and the cooked foods well apart. And when you are cooking the meat, cook small pieces and cook them very thoroughly.
Well, there we go. We hope you found our summer safety strand useful. We're about to tuck into our barbecue, but for now, from St Ives, bye-bye.
And there are some delicious recipe ideas in our free guide to summertime safety. For your copy, send your name and address to BBC Look East, All Saints Green, Norwich, NR1 3ND, or email your request to safety@nc.bbc.co.uk.
And lots of people have already written in for their pack. In fact, we're having a few problems keeping up, so please be patient. In sport, Graham Gooch is just 1 day away from retirement. He's playing for Essex against Worcestershire. Essex had a lead on the first innings of 57. In their second innings, Worcestershire are struggling on 99 for 5. Ian Winter is in Chelmsford, and it's looking pretty good for Essex, Ian, isn't it?
That's right, Stuart, but in years to come, long after the facts and figures of this game have been consigned to wisdom, the fact remains that it'll go down as Graham Gooch's swan song to first-class cricket. The stats are impressive, they speak for themselves. Almost 45,000 first-class runs, nearly 9,000 test match runs, and 129 centuries. Few players have made such an impact on club and country as one lifelong Essex member has been finding out.
Facts are facts, and there's nowhere to hide from them at the Essex County Record Office, where Graham Gooch's #1 fan is discovering a startling truth.
This is what you're looking for, Sheila.
Not rats, but ducks. Sheila Downing's hero was out for naught twice in the opening game of his first full season.
He did exactly the same thing in his first test match, and it made you think, oh dear, what have we got here? But what a marvellous performer he's been over the years.
Becoming a legend didn't come easy to Graham Gooch. 7 years after his disastrous test debut, he captained a rebel tour to South Africa and was banned for 3 years. But by the time he was eligible for England again, it wasn't just the papers clamouring for his recall.
He's a very complete player. I think if you take the general opinion around the counties, people would have to say he stands as the best opening batsman we have in the country.
In 1990, his proudest moment came when he was made England captain. The same season, he scored 333 against India. He made a century in the second innings too. No one had ever scored more in a single test. He's England's most prolific batsman, having scored over 100 hundreds, and now he's an England selector. Gooch's contribution to Essex is just as stunning. They'd never won a trophy when he joined. He leaves with 6 county championships and a full set of one-day titles.
For nostalgia, the one that I will remember would be Graham's 176, I think it was, at Chelmsford last year. He retired because he had to take his father to hospital. That's when his father was very ill, hoping that when he got back he would go into bat again, only to find the rest of the team had got themselves out. And that, of course, unless he gets a century in the second innings of this match, will be his final century as well.
You know, for 103 years, Essex had no need of a trophy cabinet like this. Then a promising young batsman made his debut in 1973, and the county hasn't looked back since. It's impossible to overstate the contribution of Graham Gooch to Essex and England over the years, and he's been talking to Steve Bolton.
Graham, so close to the end of such an incredible career, but are you not just getting a few second thoughts about giving up?
No, I don't think so, because every time I walk out to the wicket, I tend to walk back pretty quickly afterwards, and that's not in my game plan, actually. So, no, I think the time's right to retire. You know, it's been a long career, and I've had a lot of enjoyment and a few runs along the way as well, and I think the time's right now.
I mean, you've had an amazing Test career, but how important has Essex County Cricket Club been to you?
Well, it's been every bit as important in some ways. You know, you come back and play every week in, week out, county cricket, and I've always thought and hoped that I've given my all for Essex as much as I give for England when I play for them. They do get very close to you here. Most of the players know a lot of the supporters and members, you know, and they're regulars here, so it becomes a very tight community, and one, you know, I've been very fortunate to play for, an atmosphere that I've been very fortunate to play in.
And they put up a statue to you in Chelmsford, I believe.
They did, yeah.
How did you feel about that?
Slightly embarrassing when I unveiled the big bronze statue, yeah, but it's just around the corner from here, actually. And in the statue, I'm hitting the ball, and that's what I've not been doing this season.
Now, have you thought what it's going to be like that last time when you walk back to the pavilion? What are you going to be feeling?
Well, a lot of sadness. I mean, I feel sad over the last, you know, couple of days. I know I'll be emotional on the last day. You know, it's been a part of your life, most of my life, actually. I mean, I started playing professional cricket when I was a teenager, and now I'm in my 40s, so I've not known much else, really. So it's going to be a big wrench. I just hope that along the way, I've managed to entertain and give some people some enjoyment.
And cricket lovers around the world will drink to that. Many will have fond memories when Graham Gooch finally declares his own long innings closed here at Chelmsford tomorrow. Ian Winter, Look East, Essex.
Thank you, Ian, very much indeed. Now, more than 100,000 people are expected at Castle Ashby near Northampton this weekend for the Game Fair.
It's designed for those who take part in and enjoy field sports like hunting, shooting and fishing. So we sent Mike Liggins along, who doesn't know a thing about any of them.
Horses, hounds, exhibitions, competitions, you name it, the Game Fair has got the lot. Today there was royalty. Over the next few days there will be loads of loyalty, like that between Robin Lord, a professional gun dog trainer from the Fens, and his trusty spaniel, Thunder, taking part in the simulation of a shooting day where the dogs retrieve dummies, not game. And Thunder was on top form.
What kind of character is she?
Like all cockers, funny, ambitious and great companions.
There are birds and bangs, real and pretend. There are trade stands selling country kind of things, wax jackets and fishing rods. Only you can't buy the sort of talent that Bob Nudd has. The 3-time world champion from Essex just knows how to catch fish.
It's all about aggression, you know, how you attack it, how you actually have to fool the fish, get them excited into grabbing the bait so they grab yours, and you have to do this by feeding.
The Game Fair is run by the Country Landowners Association, and although serious debate goes on about many country pursuits, the fair is a chance for hunting, shooting and fishing folk to forget politics for a while and let their hair down. much does it cost to get in? Well, it costs £12 for adults and £5 for children. And you know the secret of these game fairs? Don't do too much, otherwise you'll get tired. Mike Liggins, Look East, Castle Ashby.
Oh, wasn't Thunder a handsome dog as well? Good job Bob Nudd didn't sing. Let's have the weather, Victoria.
Thanks, Stuart. Well, once the cloud broke over Norfolk, it joined the rest of the region in enjoying a pleasant and warm day. Certainly prompted these chaps to take a trip down to the water. A mixture of tidings in store for the weekend, but it will be an improving situation, so I think Sunday certainly looking quite good. I think the satellite shows us some of what's to come. The system here, the forward system, moved further south than I expected, so there was rather less cloud for the southwest. This system here looks set to bring us some cloud and humid conditions tomorrow and a bit of rain as well. As far as the evening goes, well, much of the cloud dissipating now, so a very pleasant and bright evening for just about everyone. Fairly warm too, with that northwesterly breeze gradually easing down. In fact, those winds becoming very light and quite variable in direction, although predominantly southwesterly, I think, tonight. And I think that's going to mean some mist and a few fog patches forming as temperatures fall to around 11 Celsius, 52 Fahrenheit. For western areas, on Saturday, a dry start with some brightness as well, but I think we will find that cloud moving in fairly quickly, turning things a little more dull by the end of the morning. And in fact, for the afternoon, that will mean some occasional outbreaks of showery rain. One or two sharp bursts in there, but we could well find some bright intervals coming along as well. Still warm. Temperatures up to 23 Celsius. Further east, a dry and bright start too, even with some hazy sunshine in the northern areas. Fairly light southwesterly breeze. That will pick up during the afternoon as it moves round to the southeast as well. And those showery outbreaks of rain moving up and across during the course of the afternoon. Again, very warm, temperatures up to 24 Celsius despite a good deal of cloud. That's 75 Fahrenheit in the brighter spells. And just a shade cooler as those winds move round on the coast there. Well, as I say, take heart. In the second half of the weekend, we've got a dry and bright day to come on Sunday. A good deal of sunshine for just about everyone. We might just find some cloud lingering for a time across the Norfolk coast there, but I think even there things becoming better. Some bright sunshine coming through for the afternoon. Well, temperatures not much down on Saturday, up to 23 Celsius in places, 73 Fahrenheit, but feeling just a little bit fresher, perhaps a little bit more refreshing. So there's the summary for the weekend. A little bit unsettled for Saturday and certainly feeling very warm and muggy. Fresher on Sunday, but still very warm and very pleasant. And in fact, with high pressure dominating through the first half of next week, we've got lots of sunny and dry weather to come. Temperatures holding around the mid-20s. Not bad at all. Get the barbecues out.
That's great. Thank you very much, Victoria.
The headlines tonight: 4 people have been killed and 10 injured in a minibus crash in Derbyshire. And hundreds of jobs are at risk after the government threatened to close 2 research laboratories following allegations of animal cruelty.
I've just been trying to remember how the Bob Nudd record went, but you wouldn't remember that, would
I'm
you?
afraid not. Can't help you.
It was a little winner, if I remember correctly. Don't forget to write in if you want that free safety pack. It's got some great recipes in it.
And have a good weekend. Goodbye.
Fun and laughter on a summer holiday. No more worries for me or you for a week or two. We're going where the sun shines bright.
Discussing the modern-day ethics of hiring and firing on BBC Two in a moment, Clive Anderson presents a new series of hypotheticals.
Girl power in Australian colleague Yvonne Guilford. There's speculation the trial may end shortly. If convicted, the 2 women could face the death penalty.
After an adjournment of nearly 3 weeks, the Islamic court that will decide the fate of the 2 women has reconvened, and the judges may soon be ready to deliver a verdict. Lawyers for Lucille McLaughlin and Deborah Parry are expected to present new evidence about a bracelet found near the dead woman, Yvonne Guilford. But crucially, the nurses have to convince the court that their earlier confessions were forced out of them.
We believe the whole case is built around these confessions, And if that is true, then it's blown apart. The whole case falls down on us.
A former cellmate from their 8 months in jail also thinks they're innocent.
I don't think they have a remote chance of the capability of doing anything half as horrible as what was done to the third nurse. And I don't even think they're physically capable of the damage that was supposed to have been done.
If the judges believe them, the 2 women could walk free. If not, they may face the death penalty.
Supporters of the Basque separatist group ETA are holding a march today through the city of San Sebastian. The rally has been organised amid tight security by the group's political wing. 6 million people throughout Spain joined marches against ETA last week following the murder of a young local politician. Today's rally supporting ETA is the first since the murder, and the police fear it could lead to violence. Emergency services in eastern Germany are trying to repair a breach more than half a mile wide in one of the main dikes on the River Oder. The region has seen its worst flooding in more than 200 years, and hundreds of villagers living near Frankfurt an der Oder have been forced to abandon their homes.
The dikes along the River Oder can no longer take the pressure. The sheer volume of water is proving too much. South of the city of Frankfurt an der Oder, one of the main structures has now given way. The dike at Breisgau has a breach more than half a mile wide. Water is pouring through it at a rate of hundreds of cubic meters a second. The massive hole has brought renewed flooding to areas which thought they'd escaped the worst. More people have been moved out of the region during the night. The authorities are now working out what can be done to narrow this latest breach. Hundreds of troops are in the area, but the sand and earth used elsewhere to seal cracks won't be enough this time. Although there appears no longer to be a threat to lives, the flood's economic impact remains huge.
The supermarket group Sainsbury's own brand of fresh toddler milk has been withdrawn from sale after a number of children were affected by a rare form of salmonella. Describing the move as a precautionary measure, the company has placed adverts in several of today's papers urging customers to return Sainsbury's fresh toddler milk. Belgian authorities have begun investigating the cause of yesterday's plane crash at an air show in Ostend, in which at least 8 people died. A Jordanian plane spiraled out of control during an aerobatic display and plunged into a crowd of onlookers. 3 of the spectators remain seriously injured, and the second day of the show has now been cancelled. The fire that's been sweeping across the French countryside on the outskirts of Marseille has been brought under control. More than 1,000 firefighters had been struggling to extinguish the blaze for 2 days. The strong winds that had been fanning the flames suddenly dropped overnight. That's it for now. More news at 5:45.
The World Athletics Championships, starting on Saturday exclusively on BBC Television and Radio 5 Live. Be a part of it.
Their men are solving the crime problem now on BBC One. Think Tank.
And we know it's a severe condition. People can become highly labour intensive.
Hello, I'm David Aronovich and this is Think Tank. Bit by bit, since the general election, Labour has been putting in place a new approach to many of the most fundamental and important questions that we face. Now, Think Tank exists to assess the nature of these challenges and find out just where the new government's taking us. This week, the programme's about a dramatic new stance towards crime and the quality of everyday life. The idea that we should wipe out antisocial behaviour through a policy of zero tolerance. I took myself down on the street to find out what this could mean.
Sometimes, in my darker moments, I think there are 2 societies in this country. People like me who give up their seats on buses to old ladies, and then the louts, the addicts, the paint spray vandals, city centre drunks, the litter bugs, nasty neighbours and petty criminals who deface our streets and destroy our ease. It's sometimes painful to see what one's fellow citizens are capable of.
But this is not just a matter of irritation, of wounded aesthetics. There's more at stake. So why bother with petty crimes that themselves don't seem to amount to very much? Well, this place gives you a perfect example of why you might bother. There's nothing wrong with this estate. It's perfectly nice looking, probably once very pleasant. There's even kind of little arbours over here that the council once made. And yet, at some point or other, something's gone badly wrong if you look around here. It's not a nice place to live at all. It's pretty depressing if you look around here very closely. You get the graffiti artists. Then the vandals moved in and started kicking in the windows. And what happened, all this was in some ways tolerated. It was too small for anybody to do anything about, that police were out doing the bigger crimes. But gradually, it surrendered as a public space. And that is when the criminals move in. If you're going to reclaim an area like this for the children or for the public that want to use it, then the argument goes is that you clamp down on the small things and the bigger things will follow. Talk about small things. Any Saturday night, our town centres are given over to swearing and vomit. People drink themselves insensible. And hey, why not pee just there? I mean, who's watching? Just the sort of thing we should have zero tolerance for. Most of us stay in rather than run the gauntlet of swaying, erratic, foul-mouthed youth. The streets are not our own. An interesting lesson in civics is being learned by our teenagers. And this inconsideration is epidemic. Old rules seem to mean nothing. If you stop to think, these days people simply get on their bikes and run over pedestrians. It drives you mad. And it's time someone did something. Excuse me. Do you mind if I, from the BBC television, it's a very healthy way of getting from one place to another that you've got there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this is the one place you're not supposed to ride it because it's a public footpath.
Yeah, I know, I'd take the shortcut across the road there. I'm very cautious.
I know, but you're not really supposed to do it, are you? Do you know that according to one kind of concept of the law, which is zero tolerance, if you were to commit any kind of small infringement, small, then you should be picked up on it on the basis that if everybody was a bit more law-abiding, then everybody would be better off. What do you think of that? And listen to this for proof of my thesis. It does say as you come in here that you're supposed to have dogs on leads at all time. You just passed it as you came in there. Why don't you think that applies to you?
You know, if this was a really nice place, if people have picnics and have a nice time, I would keep them on the lead. But when I walk past that, I mean, this is a good day. This is really a good day. It's disgusting. There's litter everywhere, there's drunks everywhere. You'd get at least 40, 50 drunks on the green. Just urinating, throwing rubbish everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just my view.
It's borne out. I can see it around us. You're doing something which you're not really supposed to be doing, and other kids watching you will think they do it too.
To get across here, I've got to go all the way around the edge and right back round again.
Taking a couple of minutes, and you saw not many people on the path, and you thought you'd do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that gives you absolutely no qualm at all. It's not a problem.
No, it doesn't.
Just a general kind of notion that you contribute somehow or other to the erosion
I
of.
find that a little bit heavy, but yeah.
No, it is a bit heavy.
Yeah.
It is a bit heavy.
Yeah.
But what do you think about it?
Well, I think it's rather heavy, and I think if you did that, it would be a very boring world. Obviously, there's a limit to how far you take it.
Yeah.
In terms of what's acceptable and what isn't acceptable. I mean, you
Yeah.
take it as far as murdering people, then you've got a real problem. But I mean, I think cycling up a path, which is a pedestrian path, you make a value judgment, you think you're not going to run anybody over, that's fine.
It seems to make perfect sense, doesn't it, to stamp down on these minor antisocial acts, and that way we'll all behave a bit better, society will be a bit better. But, and this is quite a big but, I have a real problem. The more we do it, the more we become like other societies which have adopted firmer methods of social control. I mean, take somewhere like Switzerland, which is fantastically calm, but where you can get done for putting your knickers on the wrong part of the washing line. And it takes you also back to that Britain of the 50s, doesn't it? That Britain where people used to tap on the windows, where they used to say that your kids were being too noisy, or your garden wasn't tidy enough. And I begin to wonder, is that the kind of thing that I, as a flower power child, is that what I fought the 60s for? I don't think so. Remember Jack Straw's famous speech about the traffic light squeegees?
Madam?
About what a menace they are and how many, mostly women, felt intimidated by them. From the wrong side of the glass, old Squeege certainly looks like a representative of a different world. So would it be right to get rid of him and his pals?
Even a little bit of poetry for you.
Would you believe that?
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Are you intimidated by all this? You love it? Let me give it a whirl. What do I do? This?
Yeah, just wipe it off from the top and work downwards. Yeah. Work downwards. Lift the wiper up for you. There you go.
Now, I haven't done it very well, so you're going to do this last bit over here and kind of do it for me.
All right.
Yeah, that's terrific.
I feel intimidated, did I? Sorry.
Not totally sure, thank you.
There you go.
You a bit fed up? No, he looks fine.
Is that all right?
Thank you very much. Bye now. All of a sudden, I'm the nuisance. Interesting. Paris, what would you be doing if you weren't doing this?
If I wasn't doing this...
Yeah, if you didn't do this at all, if they said you couldn't do it.
Honestly,
yeah.
I'd probably be doing something bloody naughty. A lot worse than
Like
this.
what?
I don't know. Well, I don't sign on, you see. So, and I used to be a bit of a tearaway when I was younger, but since I've been doing this, I've calmed down a hell of a lot.
Yeah?
And it's actually brought me an income. It's not totally legal.
So this for you is an honest income?
Pardon?
This is for you an honest living? This is what...
Yeah,
and if you weren't doing this, you'd be
as
doing
honest
something
as I
worse?
can get.
Yeah.
It's not totally legal, but then again, it's not totally illegal either.
Have you mind people standing at these lights asking you whether they can do your windows?
Everybody in this city makes the whole place makes the whole place pretty, you know, pretty.
And you like people here?
Well, if we all are straight and we all have little jobs in offices, the whole world will be boring.
So they add
you
to
need
it.
to see people like him because it's right.
Yeah.
Boring. And it's true that after a couple of hours here, I wouldn't want old Squeege and company carted away by the local constabulary. That would be, what was that woman's word? Heavy. But can I have pick and mix zero tolerance? One that cuts crime and violence, but that doesn't demand conformism and tell you where to hang your smalls. Well, later in the programme, I'm going to be talking to the Deputy Home Secretary, Alan Michael. But I'm going to explore the question of zero tolerance first with three experts on the subject. Professor Philip Bean is head of the Midland Centre for Criminology at Loughborough University. Dr. Benjamin Bowling is a lecturer at Cambridge University's Institute of Criminology. And Detective Superintendent Ray Mallon has initiated zero tolerance policing in Hartlepool and in Middlesbrough. Well, look, the first thing I want to say is that it's pretty clear to me why it is that a zero-tolerance policy might improve quality of life in terms of cutting down antisocial behaviour. What's not so clear to me is whether there's any strong evidence to show that it actually reduce serious crime. Is there any such evidence, Philip Bean?
Yes, there is. It comes from the Home Office, in fact, and criminologists talk of incivilities. By that I mean a type of behaviour which is not necessarily criminal, although it may be criminal at the bottom end, like dropping litter. And
it's just horrible.
That's just horrible,
yeah.
Unpleasant, yeah. If you look at the evidence, what one can look at first in terms of property crime, and then in terms of violent crime. And on the left, the property crime evidence suggests that where there is high incivilities, then you're likely to get twice as much property crime as where there are low incivilities.
So these orange blocks show areas of high incivilities,
yeah.
And the green blocks areas of low incivilities.
That's right.
As measured by what? What constitutes an incivility?
Oh, incivility would be type of loutish behaviour, the sort of stuff that you showed on the film earlier.
So, in an area where you measure high levels of just unpleasant behaviour, you actually get significantly higher levels both of property crime on the left there and violent crime on the right there.
Yeah, the violent crime is much more dramatic. As far as the property crime is concerned, you've got twice as much property crime in areas of high incivilities than areas of low incivilities, but the violent crime is, say, much more dramatic, where you've got 4 times as much.
Ben Bowling, I'll put this straight to you. That is pretty dramatic stuff. I mean, one type of area produces, which has this sort of nasty behaviour going on in it, which is not necessarily criminal, produces fantastically higher levels of criminality.
Well, I think the first thing is to unpack the notion of a link produces or causes, which is the sort of the implication, if you like. These incivilities, first of all, we need to unpack the notion of incivilities. It includes young people hanging around on streets litter, noise, and people, such as homeless people and alcoholics. Certainly, there is evidence, which is very clear here, that those things, such as damage to property and people that some people find, if you like, unpleasant, exist in the same place as crime. But that does not mean that there is a link, or that the incivilities, the disorder, causes crime. More likely, or as likely, is the possibility that both incivilities and crime simply exist in the same place.
Okay, well, I mean, I'd find that easier to buy if there wasn't such a kind of dramatic correlation here, or seeming correlation between these two things. You've got an awful lot to explain.
I'll give you some examples of what I mean. Property damage is caused partly by a lack of repair. Litter on the streets is the result of a failure of local authorities to maintain the physical environment. Homelessness, young people on the streets, all have a set of common social causes, as do crime. So it's just as likely that incivilities and crime have the same common roots. It's not, I think most criminologists would agree, the case that the one causes the other.
Ray Mallon.
What I'd like to say quite simply is this. I'll represent the public as far as I'm concerned on this topic. What you have is massive indiscipline on the streets across the UK, as far as I'm concerned. And the criminologists, I actually take on some of the views, but what's important, you know, is that criminologists, they're looking for the root causes of all these problems. But what I will say, as far as the public are concerned, they want to know, what are we going to do today? And the government want to know that as well.
Okay, now one of the key elements of this discussion, the way in which I was first introduced to the whole concept of zero tolerance, was by reading articles about what was supposed to have happened in New York. What is the evidence about what did happen in New York under a zero tolerance policy?
First of all, I don't use the phrase zero tolerance, and neither do the NYPD. But the NYPD, they had 7 different kinds of strategy to actually affect rising crime. One of them is, we'll call it the zero tolerance strategy that they used. And they've reduced crime over the past few years dramatically. And one of the reasons why they've done that is they've focused attention to all offences, the more trivial offences on the streets, youths on street corners, etc. As a result of that, they've actually interacted with an awful lot of people, because some of these people, can I just finish, a great many of these people were criminals. A lot of them were actually carrying weapons. Now, when you look at the murder rate, if you look at the graph in relation to murder, it's reduced by over 1/3 in the last couple of years. Now, one of the reasons for that was the intervention of the police service within the NYPD.
So this high intervention policy starts in about 1994, does it?
Well,
and,
yes,
roughly.
if I just finish the point, the intervention that the NYPD took on in relation to criminals and people on the streets, they were actually stopping and checking people. Some they were searching. They were finding guns on them, knives, etc. Now, a lot of people, because they know that the NYPD are so proactive, don't carry knives, don't carry guns. As a result, there's not so much murder.
I do want to come to any possible explanation for the figures that we might see in a moment, but I want to try and understand, make sure I understand the figures first. Is what you're saying with relation to this particular chart that, by and large, this policy of intervention can be dated back to 1994? And that here we see, what, almost a halving of the murder rate in New York since that moment?
Let me tell you, prior to 1994, the NYPD were not policing, they were depolicing. Very much like this country, we have depoliced. We have not policed in this country for a lot of years. Because the NYPD became proactive and began to police the streets again, that's why you've got this massive drop in crime.
Okay, let's come to the becauses in a moment, because I suspect, Ben Bowling, that you don't even accept the statistics as they're there, or again, you don't accept the notion that there's a cause there.
Well, certainly the statistics there are very impressive and very interesting, and wouldn't it be nice if murder dropped, or homicide dropped in England by a 1/3 in a couple of years?
Certainly would.
The point is that there are many reasons for the drop in homicide in New York, one of which may possibly be to do with policing. Let's first of all look at the real picture, if you like.
The real picture.
The real picture. What Ray has shown, and quite rightly, is the last couple of years of what happened in New York.
Oh, I see. So that's that. So there's his original figure of 1561 sitting towards the end of your particular chart.
Exactly. What we need to do is to just reel back a little bit to 1985. Between 1985 and 1990, homicide in New York increased by 64%. okay, from around about 1,400 to 2,245 homicides.
Huge
Now,
explosion.
Think about this, 2,245 homicides in New York City, a city roughly the same population as London, where last year there were about 140 homicides.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Even 986 is hardly something to crow about. But the point is that we need to explain why homicide increased as well as why it decreased. The principal reason, in my view, why it increased was crack cocaine. Between 1985 and 1990, there was a massive explosion of crack cocaine in New York City. A brand new drug, or rather not a new drug, but a newly packaged drug, available in a much cheaper form.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
But not just the drug itself.
Gangs fight each other, all
Not
that
just the
sort of
drug
stuff.
itself. The supply and distribution lines of crack cocaine in New York were new, they were deregulated. Factor that problem into hopeless communities, communities that are most marginalised, add weapons, and that is the principal explanation, whether you talk to community leaders or whether you talk to police officers in New York.
But Ben, you have a problem even on that level. I can see what you're saying, but the fact is, what Ray says is, this new policing starts in about 1994. The rate of decrease is so much faster at that point
It is
than
dramatic.
it was even there.
Absolutely.
Aren't you kind of almost willfully deciding that this isn't part of the explanation?
Absolutely not. I mean, the first thing is that there's about a 14% decrease in homicide before Mr. Bratton, which is the case in point, even took office. Now, even if Mr. Bratton was an incredibly successful manager, which he is, but beyond incredible, that if his policies came in instantly. Now, there are a few managers in either the public or the private sector who would claim that a new strategy is implemented like that. The point is that during Mr. Bratton's first year of office, homicide did decrease dramatically, but it was a decline which was already taking place. Crack cocaine epidemic was pretty much past its peak.
The crack cocaine problem is still there in New York. It is still very much evident in New York now, so I actually dismiss what Ben says. In addition to that, as far as Bratton is concerned, the ex-NYPD commissioner, what he brought to the police was management. They had not been managed previously. Very much the same is in this country as far as I'm concerned. We all know, the government know, that the leadership in the police service in Britain was very poor in the 1980s and not very good in the early 1990s. What we actually have in New York, and what I think is returning in this country, is two things. We have a strategy, but secondly, we've got good management accountability. In a nutshell, we're getting more from the cops on the beat. And as far as New York's concerned, what they were doing, and it's happening here, we're actually controlling behaviour of criminals to an extent where we change it. And we're also trying to change in this country the culture of policing.
Sure, but can you give weight, therefore, to some of the things that arise from what you said, which is to three kind of different areas? One is that by having a policy zero tolerance, you simply change the atmosphere on the street. In other words, that was previously tolerated is not tolerated. You don't have an atmosphere of tolerance of it. The second one, which I imply from some of the things that you've said, which is that people on criminal career paths, junior criminals, won't actually set out on them or are interrupted in them by this. And third, the point that you raised, which is that somehow or other you sweep up people within a more kind of general one. Now, Ray, could you give weight to those three? Because it's really important I try and understand how much I should attach to each one.
Let me give you a concrete example in Middlesbrough. Prior to November of last year, they were doing, the officers were doing something like 12 stop checks per day. Not stop searches, 12 stop checks. The uniformed officers in Middlesbrough now, on average, do 72 stop checks per day. Now, a lot of those people in that 72 are a minority group. They're called criminals. And they're actually being spoken to by police officers in a controlled way. And we're actually influencing that behaviour. As a result, in Middlesbrough now, you know, we don't have people walking the streets in an indisciplined fashion, carrying brace and bits up the sleeves, screwdrivers, where they're going to break into cars. Those people know that the police are policing. As a result, their behaviour has changed. They're not carrying screwdrivers, brace and bits so much now.
Now, Ben Bowling, there's a clear notion that whatever you said about the statistics, that if you police in this way, those three benefits are going to accrue to you, whatever you made of the figures before.
I don't think that Ray is actually saying that aggressive enforcement is the thing which is causing crime to fall. I don't think
a big thing.
I think that
he keeps talking about it.
It's not aggressive. It is not aggressive policing.
Okay, well, whatever the description is, Ben calls it aggressive.
Yeah.
You don't, and the viewer can make up their own mind in a sense about what it is. They might think it's firm, tough, or whatever.
I'm happy with the idea that police management focus on their principal goal, which is to reduce crime and disorder. I think that in certain circumstances, in certain contexts, an aggressive policing strategy can work. Whether it could work in the UK, I'm
Philip
extremely
Bean,
sceptical.
I outlined we've outlined 3 possible reasons, as causal reasons, as to why it is zero tolerance might have an impact. Now, which of these do you give weight to?
The point about crack cocaine has been mentioned. If I could demonstrate that, in Nottingham, the headquarters of the drug squad is about 150 yards away from the largest area of street dealing of crack cocaine. The current view is that what we need to do as far as the police are concerned is to select out the Mr. Bigs of this world. And in doing so, you leave the street dealers unattended. Now, I would argue that zero tolerance ought to be able to deal with that problem. And if I could make this point, that drug dealing patterns, once established, are very, very difficult to remove. And that what you need to do is to concentrate much more of your activity on the street level. Because if you concentrate your activity on the street level, then the local dealers will be disrupted, the casual users won't be able to buy the drugs, and you will be able to shift around the drug market.
So in one go, you deal with the antisocial problem, the sort of quality of life problem, and you also begin to break the link, you say, between the dealer and the person who takes drugs and then might become a dealer themselves.
Right. You frustrate and harass the drug market and move them around. And if you move them around and they move to somewhere else, that's in sense a victory, because drug dealers will have to see that place as second best.
You disrupt it.
You disrupt the market. I think there's very good evidence to suggest that if you pursue that type of activity, then you stop high levels of crime developing. And that would be my argument for zero tolerance.
I'm going to put it again to you, Ben, that there's your 3 explanations, and they must make of themselves, no matter what you combine them with, they must make of themselves some significant difference.
Well, I mean, the point about crack cocaine is that when you disrupt street markets, the drug market moves indoors. But no, I think that aggressive enforcement is a very chancy, a very risky strategy. It may not have the desired effects, and there really is no evidence that that kind of strategy has had the desired effects. And the New York example, in my view, is entirely a red herring. It should never really have been introduced into the debate.
Moving away from New York, when you look at Middlesbrough now, crime is down 26% on the year. That's 750 less victims of crime every month. That's what we're getting in Middlesbrough. House burglary is down 44%, from about 450 a month to about 210. So something is happening in the environment at Middlesbrough.
OK, Ray Mallon, let's buy the idea that you could make some difference, some significant level of difference maybe, by the policing stance that you take. But can I just move on and try and investigate, if you like, the possible downside of all this? It seems to me that there could be some sorts of dangers associated with the stance that we're talking about. Ben Bowling, is there actually any basis for the strong feeling I get from you, and to a certain extent I can see why it happens, for the idea that there are problems associated with zero tolerance policing?
Yes, well, I mean, aggressive enforcement, which really entails, as Ray has said, widespread stop and frisk, stop and search, and ultimately arrest, will bear most heavily on...
Stop checks, not stop search.
Stop checks, well, and you mean you don't search people? I don't buy that.
If they allow that, that's fair enough, but everything that we do is controlled, honourable, and in the interests of the police and the public.
Well,
it's legal.
Certainly what I saw in New York, and I think probably what is also true elsewhere in the UK is that, you know, what is sometimes euphemistically termed assertive enforcement actually means aggressive enforcement. But the point is that whatever you do in terms of stop checks or stop search, exactly whatever you do, is that will fall most heavily on those people who are already the most marginalised, the most disadvantaged people.
Is this anything more than an assertion? I mean, do you actually have any evidence for this?
Well, yes, it's very clear. If you look at, for example, the data that we have on stop and search in the UK, is that although ethnic minorities make up only 6% of the UK population, that 22% of those people who are stopped and searched by the police are from ethnic minorities. Now, this is not because the ethnic minorities are more likely to be criminal, because most of the evidence we have on that shows that they are not. And indeed, people who are stopped and checked are not stopped and checked because they're committing a crime, but because they are identified as possibly, if you like, criminal groups. And I noticed Ray earlier made a link between minority and criminal, which I think is very, very dangerous.
Now, let's be
indeed.
absolutely clear. You're not now here just talking about ethnic minorities, are you? What you're saying is that certain sorts of groups, if they are seen as being a particular problem by a particular set of people in Britain, may find themselves. I mean, this could be, I don't know, New Age travellers. It could be the poor and indigent.
Yes. Well, Philip mentioned earlier that the people that he said that some people find unpleasant, such as alcoholics and the homeless. Unfortunately, England is a country which has a long history of racial discrimination and prejudice, and many white English people find, if you like, ethnic minorities unpleasant. And those people who are going to be policed against will be ethnic minorities. And if you step up the rate of stop and search in the UK, it will bear most heavily on those people who are already
Ray Mullen, this must be a problem, must it not? I mean, just experience.
I can only speak for where I work. I've worked Hartlepool, I've worked Middlesbrough, I've worked Cleveland Constabulary's Force area. What I would say is this: we're focusing towards stop and search. There are many other elements to the strategy that we have in Middlesbrough and Cleveland at the present time. As far as stop and search, I like to say stop check. That's what we're doing, stop check, where we're interacting and influencing the behaviour of people. In the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, you know, it's there, page 4, 1B. We can actually interact with members of the public in the lawful execution of our duties.
No, but the question is with who you find yourself interacting most with. Hold on. Let me just put this to you, reformulate it. The idea is, whether you call it interaction, you interact more, you will interact more with young blacks, young men, because who probably young men who dress in a particular way, people who are alcoholic and on the street. That's the accusation.
I can blow this out of the water now.
Right.
In Middlesbrough, the stop checks, 1% is ethnic minority to begin with. 1%.
Out of how many in the population?
In Middlesbrough, 2%.
Right.
2%.
So exactly the opposite of what Ben Bowling says.
Yeah, 2% of the population in Middlesbrough, I think it's 2 or 3%, is ethnic minority. 1% of the stop checks that we do are actually on ethnic minorities.
But what about these other groups? Groups who might be more marginal?
Such as what? Homelessness?
Such as indigent people, such as people...
We are not targeting vulnerable groups. We're targeting criminals. That's what we're targeting. You see, as a police manager, I have a very simple function as far as I'm concerned. The criminologist, he comes from the basis where police management rarely comes into it. It's the facts and figures on his research. The research normally is carried out with criminals to begin with, so I would say it's fundamentally flawed anyway. But what I would say is this, that police management, that's my job. My job is to protect the public by using strategy. Now, that's one thing, and this is no disrespect to criminologists. Criminologists have very little training in actual business strategy. We have a strategy here that's working.
So what?
We're reducing crime, and the police service can reduce crime. And what I would say is this: in all of my service, I've only heard one chief constable in England and Wales in the last 20 years who's actually said, we as a police service can reduce crime
let me put that to bed.
Concentrating on our business.
It's not a question of marginalised groups, it's a question of people who are likely to be offending or being antisocial. No. Those are the people who have something to fear. Insofar as they might be members of those groups, they should fear. Insofar as they're not, they don't.
No, the reason that people are stopped and searched on the street is not because they're committing crime. Most often people are stopped and searched or stopped and checked on the street is because they fall into certain categories. Colour is used as a criterion for stop.
But it need not be the case, need it?
Well,
I mean, if for instance, the police were, as they try to do, getting their act together, couldn't you envisage a form of zero-tolerance policing, let me call it that, or whatever nomenclature you adapt to it, couldn't you envisage a form which did not have that effect?
It seems very, very difficult for me to imagine that. Police officers use kind of working stereotypes in order to decide who they're going to stop and search.
Not true.
Well, I've taught 70 superintendents over the last year and a half, and I doubt that there's one of them who would say that police operational practice in stop and search is not racially discriminatory. All the evidence points in that direction. Middlesbrough, with a 1 or 2% ethnic minority population, really is not an example. It certainly can't apply to you know. Let
me put this to Philip Bean. There must be, must there not, Philip Bean, be a risk at the very least that certain groups are targeted more than others? Is that a risk worth taking?
Well, there is a risk, and those figures that we saw about the 22% stop and search aren't recent figures at all. It's it's been that level in the Metropolitan District for years, and disgracefully high level. And I think Ben is absolutely right about that. And the other thing that I greatly fear by a sort of unrestrained zero tolerance activity is that it wouldn't take long before one moved over from dealing with just small types of criminals and relatively low-level criminal behaviour to behaviour that you don't like morally.
So maybe we shouldn't do it then?
No. My view would be we certainly should try it. But we must not, I think, accept the view of a colleague on the left that the police can be trusted in all respects to do this, because their track record has not been terribly good when it comes to dealing with minority groups, and Ben is absolutely right on that. And if it is to be introduced, I think it should be introduced with considerable more restraints that are currently being suggested.
Right, can I put that as a very fair? Philip Bean says, I support the policy you want, but if you're going to have my full support, you're going to have to kind of look yourself more squarely in the face and say, I see the problem.
I'll go back to the words. There's 2 points that I should make, but I'll go back to the words that I used earlier. Everything that we do at Middlesbrough is controlled, honourable, in the interests of the public and the police. Secondly, it's quite offensive to some extent, and I know that my colleagues here don't mean to be offensive. When we actually tar the whole of the police service in relation to probably 1 or 2 police forces who have a bad track record in relation to focusing on minority groups in the wrong way. We know the problems that we've had with disorder in certain police force areas in England and Wales, but the vast majority of police force in England and Wales, I will sit here and defend their track record. It's been very good.
That seems an absolutely perfect point to thank you three very much, and to turn to Alan Michael. Alan Michael, your party has stressed many times that you think that curbing antisocial behaviour is extremely important. It would of itself be a major improvement in the quality of life, just dealing with that. But to what extent do you buy the argument that zero-tolerance policing, as some people call it, can also lead to a pretty serious reduction in crime levels?
I think one of the problems is that people use terms, including zero tolerance, in different ways. And I think what we mean by it is that if you intervene early when things are starting to go wrong, if you nip things in the bud, if you deal with the first broken window pane, not wait until all the windows are put in, then you make an impact. If you allow things to drift, people get the impression that nobody cares very much. And also the people who are offending or being involved in antisocial behaviour think, well, it doesn't matter very much, nothing much happens. And therefore it is essential to say there are standards. The way we react to the initial stages of problems developing does actually send out a signal about the future.
Okay, take us, if you like, into a journey into a sort of hypothetical area where you think this relationship is played out. What do you think happens that has a relationship between, let us say, these sort of antisocial forms and criminality at the end?
Well, I think it's not very hypothetical. If you get the situation where youngsters are out on the street and the way they behave is not put right, if parents get to the point where they feel that they can't affect their children's behaviour, if there starts to develop a feeling that anything goes, then you will find that levels of crime will rise as well, the burglaries, the car crime.
Why will they rise?
Because there's no restraint, there's no feeling that you know how to behave. I think the statistics that showed earlier, the very close relationship between levels of crime and levels of minor disorder and disruption and incivility absolutely make the point. But it's actually something that's quite common sense. You don't need statistics to tell it, do you? If you've got children yourself, you don't actually wait 4.5 months on average to tell them they're doing something wrong. You tell them today. You don't just leave things until a serious crime is offended before intervening. You start off when things are going wrong.
So let me be clear about what is included among things going wrong. Things going wrong would include littering an area. Things going wrong would include vandalism in an area. They'd include graffiti. They'd include those sorts of things that make an area less agreeable to live in, and which suggest that virtually anything you do will be tolerated.
Yes, all those sorts of things add up to a feeling that anything goes, nobody cares, nobody's going to be put right, we can do what we want. But can I make one very important point? And that is, you've been talking very much now about styles of policing. The style of policing is important, but what is important is that the style of policing is very much integrated into what everybody else does, what the local authority does, what the local community does. And if you change the style of policing without actually taking the community along with you, without, as Tony Blair famously said, dealing with both crime and its causes, then you can't succeed. You end up with antagonism, and you can indeed add to disorder.
So it's a stance on the part of everybody which is important, and what we're looking at is the behaviour of everybody. You see, the reason why I say this is because maybe you think I'm being incredibly pessimistic, but your manifesto didn't suggest that you did. I seem to see all around me a kind of reduction in people's obeying of rules from the most minor upwards. And so you can talk about some of the most obvious ones that you have legislation for, you introduce legislation for, like racial harassment, which is dreadful. But I also see around me cyclists who hurtle down pavements, not caring if they endanger pedestrians. I see people who own dogs, who befoul areas so badly that children can't play there. I see public space denied to the public as a result of these relatively minor acts. Now, do you ignore those, or do these come under your purview, things we've got to do something about?
They come into the purview of things you've got to do something about, but you need to do it by changing attitudes. You can't just chase, for instance, you couldn't just say, if the police chase everybody who are riding bikes without lights, all of a sudden everything would go right. You need to actually get a sense of responsibility back into the community. The actions that the local authority takes, the action that community groups take. You need to give back, for instance, to parents a feeling of confidence that they can intervene in the way that their children behave.
But ultimately, is anybody actually going to go up to the person who's doing the thing and say, I think, not slam, you know, you don't have to spend 10 years in the slammer for sticking your feet up on the seats, but is somebody going to go up and tell them, in addition to all these other nice kind of youth organisations, don't do that?
Yes, but there must be a sense of confidence that that can be done. What you've got at the moment is a whole lot of low-level disorder which is not being tackled. You can't simply say to the police, we want you to go out and tackle that and stop it. There needs to be a sense within the community. We're supporting the police in tackling this, that parents take a part in. And that's why, if you look at all the proposals we're making, they're about giving people back responsibility, giving back a sense you can do things about this. There is also a big question, this is part of our strategy, which is that very often not enough work is done to understand what it's like to live or work in an area that the question's asked. The British Crime Survey, for instance, demonstrates that there's a lot more crime and disorder that goes on which bothers people than appear in the recorded crime figures. Of course. The fact of crime is that only one crime in 54 ends up with a punishment by a court. Only one in 750 ends up with a prison sentence. And there's that whole mass of disorder and things that actually spoil people's lives that we, as a society, that's we the police, that's we citizens, that's we parents, that's we the community, need to tackle if we're going to have a more orderly society, a better place to live. And people need to be given back the confidence, that includes giving the confidence back to the police, that we can do something about these things, and we're going to do something about these things.
You have outlined to me, if you have the mechanisms to fulfil it, almost a revolution in a huge change in attitudes towards public standards. I mean, I just want you to restate for me, in a sense, that you are aware of the size of task which you're setting yourself and everybody else.
I'm aware of the size of the problem that faces us in terms of the massive increase in crime in the last decade or two, and in the hidden levels of disorder and attitudes. You look at the way that we've put forward proposals which will be in the Crime and Disorder Bill later this year. Some of them are about saying parents have to be responsible. Some of them are saying young people have to be responsible. Some of them are about saying the community, through partnership approaches at a local level, have to be responsible. But we also have the government saying we need to give opportunity and hope to our young people through giving jobs and real training. Yes, it's a massive programme, and we've embarked on it actually rather quickly.
Now, are you clear in your own mind, given the size of the problem that you're facing, the task in dealing with it, what the causes are of that problem in the first place, as to why we've had a decline in civility and standards?
I think there's been an undermining in confidence over a period of years and a development of a feeling that nothing very much can be done, that we're always going to have increases in crime. We've got to put confidence back. We've got to say we are putting the right punishments in place. We've got to say that we are building...
But Alan Michael, why do you think they're no longer civil? I mean, why do you think they're no longer... Why do they do these things that so get up my nose?
Well, can I say that one of the reasons that I stood for Parliament in the first instance was that I saw many aspects of work with young people being undermined. Young people simply being seen as a part of the problem. We need to work with young people. We also need to set boundaries for young people and say there's a limit. If you step over that limit, you'll be punished.
So you think we've ignored our young people? We've given them the message...
We've abandoned them on the streets.
We've abandoned them, and we've given them the message that we're only interested in them at the end of their sort of criminal careers. We're not interested in trying to stop, check them or help them at an earlier stage. That's the main reason, is it?
Partly as far as the way that the youth justice system works, which means that it takes far too long to get anywhere within it. That's something, of course, which we're pledged to tackle. The other thing is before that, that an awful lot of youngsters have come out of school without opportunity and hope, and without the sort of environment where you say there are rights and responsibilities in life. We recognise that you've got rights, but we expect you to exercise your responsibilities.
Well, can I say, as a parent myself, one half of me is absolutely on for everything that you've been talking about. And then one part of me feels worried, and I want to sort of try and discuss this kind of worry. I suppose it is that if we clamp down on what we see and I see as antisocial behaviour, particular groups will tend to bear the brunt of our alteration and our firmness of attitude, and they will be, if you like, in a sense, the victims of this new form. What do you think there is such a danger? Do you accept that danger?
I think there is such a danger, and I think we very much want to avoid it. That's why I stressed so much that it has to be done, not, for instance, saying to the police, go out and deal with that problem, but we want you, the police, to tackle that problem, but we, the community, need to be involved in tackling that problem with you. There needs to be... I mean, the British police police successfully with the consent of the people. Now, that consent has to be worked on. It's a challenge which is recognised by most senior police officers. There are problems, particularly in some communities where there's perhaps a dissonance between those who are doing the policing and those who are policed, in black communities in particular. Those are problems that need to be addressed. Well, but may I make the point that amongst black communities, the victims are those people. Amongst young people, both people who commit offences and the victims, young males are most often the victims of crimes of violence.
That's a very correct warning against making too big an assumption about who we can corral into particular groups. But even so, you've mentioned it yourself, we saw the chart which showed the 22% stop and search of ethnic minority people compared with the 6% in the population. We have seen what the reaction in certain communities has been to what they regarded as over heavy policing. Isn't there a danger that we might court a return to this sort of reaction?
There is a danger, and I think it's very important that the police are aware of it and that we're aware of it. I think a lot of lessons have been learnt in recent years, and those need to be carried through into practice. But that's why I'm placing such a strong emphasis, and this will be a part of the emphasis in the Crime and Disorder Bill later this year, on building that partnership. There needs to be a confidence that the police will police fairly in an area, because there's a strong understanding between the police and the community about the styles and approaches and activities that they're undertaking.
Can I come back to this notion of fairness in a moment? But I just want to I mean, in a way, we always tend to have this discussion about ethnic minorities, and particularly with a Labour government, there is a high level of awareness of that particular problem. But it's less popular to talk about other people whose behaviour may get up, may seem slightly unpleasant to other people, but is in the nature of the sort of people they are. I'm talking about young men. When we were young men, well, maybe not you, but certainly I did things that maybe might have caused irritation. I don't know how I would have reacted to a very heavy policing hand on me simply because I was young. Is there not a danger there too?
Yeah, that's why we needed to change the culture amongst young people as groups. And I think I referred earlier to the Prudential Youth Action Awards and the sort of way in which young people have taken some responsibility for working with younger young people. And that's where the influence, they're far more likely to take notice of older teenagers than they are of us.
But they may not want to change it because they quite like shouting on the streets, you know, sort of at 12 o'clock when they're a bit drunk, as long as they're not actually killing each other. They quite like, you know.
But that's where there's a narrow line of what is acceptable, what's just high spirits, and what goes over it to be threatening and intimidating. And it does require some sensitivity and care, and we need to think those things through as a society. But let me give another example, which is that of homeless people and aggressive begging, for instance. The point that Tony Blair made in his Big Issue article was a very clear one, that people should be able to go down the streets without feeling intimidated. But he also made the point there should be places for these people to go. In other words, we need to deal with the problem.
Drunk and disorderly in the clubs.
No, the point that he was making was that you need to deal with problems of homelessness as well as dealing with the presenting problem. And that is why, really, you've got to look right across the range of policies and approaches in recreating a sense of responsibility and of caring and of mutuality in society in order to come to the solutions to the problem that you're concentrating on today.
Well, can I take you one step further to what some people would call, after Catherine the Great's chief minister, the sort of Potemkin problem here, which is the idea that you should clear those people who look unsightly, though, you know, the winos who sit there and go, blah, at everybody. You know, I don't like them, rather they went away. But in a sense, I haven't got any option for what to do with them, and it's easier in a sense to say, well, we just sort of, you know, we move them on, as indeed happened to us an extent inside New York. I mean, isn't there a danger of that too?
There is a danger. That's why we need to get the balance right and the policies right. But can I say, if, for instance, you look at young people, sometimes there are young people who won't take corrections. Very important to give them clear messages of where the limits lie. What I also found in working for many years as a youth worker was that it was sometimes the more difficult ones who, given the opportunity, could exercise leadership if you use their talents and enthusiasm. So, in other words, we need to set limits, but also invite our young people to be a part of the solution rather than a part of the problem.
Right. Can I suggest another way in which you might win their support and the support of other people who might otherwise feel themselves to be unfairly got at through this, which is to ensure that this stance we have is absolutely even-handed. It doesn't just deal with what people of a particular hue or a particular age do, but it applies to all of us inside the community, that all of us, if we transgress in some ways, will feel the effects or should feel the effects of it.
Yes, I think that's what creating a tolerant and a responsible society is about, because those two things come together. But it's not enough for us to say we want the police to deal with all the problems and we want them to be ultra fair, and incidentally we'll criticise them every time things go wrong. What we have to say is you have our support, but you also have our expectations of being fair, and you also have our active involvement in creating safer communities.
That's fair, but what I really mean is there are quite a lot of misdemeanours which are more kind of typically middle class. And I think there is an attitude that some people have is, why is that woman allowed to get away with that sort of... I mean, let me give you an example. It's an absolutely brilliant example, actually. If we're going to stop that nasty-looking drunk urinating in the park, what are we going to do about that woman who's letting her dog defecate in the same place? What is the difference in principle between the human urine and the dog's defecation in terms of the quality of life and how it then impacts upon the rest of things?
You're talking in both cases, aren't you, about lack of responsibility and lack of respect for other people who have to share the same space in the same street. Both are problems. Both are part of the general atmosphere which can build up to a feeling of decay and disorder.
Yes.
Both of them are aspects where we need to be saying to people, we want you to be more responsible, we want you to think about the other people and the way that your actions affect other people and the way in which your actions add up to a sense of unease in communities.
Well, I think that's a very clear exposition and a very firm one about the scale of the changes that are needed and the fact that a lot of things fall into this particular purview. Can I just put it to you that if we do the things that you said, and we actually really do them, that we will become quite a different country.
I think we've become a rather nicer country. I think that we've got a window of opportunity here, because I think over the last 20 years things have developed. People have recognised that some of the old approaches haven't worked. It's been recognised by the police and local authorities that crime and disorder is important, that we can't do it. No organisation can do it on their own. We all need to be a part of finding solutions. And that's an opportunity which, as a government, we want to grasp by actually tackling, again, crime and its causes and putting things in place in legislation and the actions we take, which are going to change society. And I agree, it is a radical change that we're seeking.
But Matt, you use the word nicer, which in a sense is a very useful word. What some people would say, and what kind of fear is it won't just be nicer, it'll be a more boring country. That what we'll effectively do is transform, if we do it, into a wonderfully law-abiding, conformist, tedious society like Switzerland, where we will be best known for gnomes and cuckoo clocks and for the fact that we don't hang our duvets out of the window at midday.
Well, I must say that I spent many years working with young people and having young people using their energies in artistic activity, in sport, in outdoor activities and all sorts of positive things, and in helping others, incidentally, is a lot more exciting life as far as they're concerned and as far as the community is concerned than them being out on the street at the mercy of the drug dealers and the others, getting involved in burglary and car crime. I'm not sure what sort of excitement we want. I want the sort of excitement that actually fits together rights and responsibilities and making something of yourself in life.
It's a very fair and obvious point that you make, and I suppose what I'm asking is, do you accept that there is a trade-off? There may be a trade-off in terms of the sort of excitement around in society. It's sort of its vast amount of varieties, some of which is slightly threatening, versus society in which we feel safer and happier, but which may not have some of those attendant excitements. So this is a trade-off that exists at all.
I think it's a question of balance. I think most people would like the boredom of not being burgled, of being able to walk down the street without being threatened or intimidated, would like to feel safe in their homes and on the street. And at the same time, we need a creative society, which is why other parts of our policies are about developing the talents of young people, developing artistic endeavour, developing sport. I think it's a question of getting the balance right and making sure that British society is safer and more interesting to live in. I don't think it has to be boring.
Alan Michael, thank you very much indeed. Next week, I'll be examining another piece in Labour's policy jigsaw, the government's plans for Scotland. I'll be talking to the Scottish Secretary, Donald Dewar. See you then. Goodbye.
I must confess, I do love a good drama, you know, like Casualty.
My marrows really like listening to Gardener's Question Time on Radio 4.
I really like the travel show.
EastEnders, University Challenge. After the kids go to sleep, I do need a bit of escapism.
The BBC has always endeavoured to give you a wide range of high-quality programmes for television and radio, and it can only do this thanks to the unique way it's funded by you, the British public. If you'd like to know more about how that money is spent, then the BBC Annual Report is now available through bookshops and libraries.
No way! Okay, sinners, it's confessions time.
Oh, when we took their pants.
No, no, no!
Want me, Rowan?
And there is no place to hide.
Why did you push your younger sister down a mine shaft?
I'd had enough.
It's Judgment Day. The new series of Confessions begins Saturday at 7:10 on BBC One.
That was not fair.
Burt Lancaster and Dean Martin star with Jacqueline Bisset at 2:25 in our big movie for this Sunday afternoon, Airport. That's with the exception of Northern Ireland. And now on BBC One, This Week in the Square.
It's a good idea. What's wrong with it?
We tried talent contest. Basically, there isn't any. This is Walford, remember?
Yeah, you're right. All right, what about happy hour?
Oh, if I were you, I'd forget it. We might not even have a pub after I've been to court.
Mum, Marcus Chris has been all through this with you. You're just going to get a fine, that's all.
Yeah, that's right.
What if the magistrate decides to make an example of me?
No.
He could take away my licence. They can do what they want, these people.
You're overreacting, Peggy. It will be all right.
Of course it will. Anyway, you'll have me there with you, so you've got nothing to worry about.
I've asked George to come with me. This is down to me, Grant. It's my responsibility.
Mum, we're in this together.
I know, love. But I want you to stay here with Tiffany. Enjoy it while it lasts.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you go and get yourself done up to the nines and show him how it's done, eh?
Listen, we knew it might not happen first time. They warned us, didn't they?
Yeah, but I was just so sure, that's all.
Yes, of course you were. But that's you, isn't it? You'll never change.
Yeah, well, I suppose I should know by now.
Look, don't give yourself such a hard time over it. Okay?
He found his way back to me all on his own. A regular bloodhound, aren't you? I'm taking him for a walk before we go to work. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Hang on. What do you mean, we?
I can't leave Wennard at home. Not after what he's been through. He's been traumatised.
Do me a favour.
It's true. He needs to be with me so he can build up his confidence again.
It's unhygienic. I'm running a high-class operation out of there, kid, and I don't need some scruffy mutt dropping his hairs and goodness knows what else all over the place. No, it's not on.
So that's it then, is it? Wennard would think I don't love him anymore. He'd feel abandoned, just when he thought he was safe again.
Robbie.
Please, Barry, just till he gets secure about things.
Look,
Barry, if I have to take him home, I'll be worrying about him all day. My work will suffer, so will the business, please.
All right. You do what you want, but you keep him out of my way, do you hear?
Anything you say, boss.
How much experience do you want? I've been in this game donkey's years. Sure I can. Reference as well. I'll call you back.
I thought you'd already gone.
Is that why you decided to come downstairs, is it?
Are you being sarcastic?
No.
I'm going to be late for work.
What? There's nothing to do until the sparks have been in. What about you? You going to the refuge?
No, I might give it a miss today. Stay at home.
Why?
Well, I don't think I'm much use to Alex. He says I get too emotionally involved, and he's right. Instead of helping people, I just drive them away, so I'm useless.
No.
You weren't there, it's true.
So you're just going to give it up instead, eh?
I don't need a lecture, Dad.
Look, Alex is right in what he says. But you can't just quit because you've had a bad day. It's not like you, Sarah. You like it, don't you? Then you've got to stick with it. I mean, no one said it was going to be easy, did they?
No.
No. So why don't you go and get dressed? You could be doing some good instead of sitting here all day feeling sorry for yourself.
You're right.
Of course I am. I'll get it.
Hi, Tone. See, Simon's on the store this morning. When did you get back?
Last night.
How is he?
A bit rough as it happens. A mate of his died while he was up in Manchester. It was a funeral at the weekend.
It's terrible, mate.
Yeah, he'd been ill for a while, but it don't make it any easier, does it?
I guess it must be difficult to know what to say.
What do you mean?
When somebody's grieving.
Oh, right.
You thought I was talking about Polly, didn't you? Are you going to tell him?
Look, give me a break, will you?
I just think...
When I told Polly about Simon, she totally freaked. She don't understand. There's no way Simon will. I'll keep my mouth shut, all right?
Right. So that's the story you're sticking to.
Drop it, OK? It's been through enough.
All right, if you say so.
Yeah, I do.
Sounds like a nice ceremony.
Yeah, it was. Tarek had a lot of friends. I met some of them for the first time at the funeral.
Look, if you want to take the rest of the day off, that's fine.
No, really, I'm fine. I'd rather keep busy.
All right, then. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. What are you doing here?
Mum, please, look, it's just for a couple of hours, that's all.
Look, I'm sorry, Ian. You never give me any warning, do you? You just come and expect me to take over from you. Look, Lucy's your daughter. You have to sort it out.
Mum, I've got to get over to a new shop.
Yeah, and I'm
Please,
all on my
busy.
own,
Thank
and
you,
I.
darling.
Mick's not in till later. Sorry, see you later.
I just wanted to be with you, especially now. I thought we could spend some time together. Yeah, but won't you get in trouble? I mean...
Max will never know. He's out of the office all day today.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this, Tony. You get yourself a reputation if you're not careful.
I don't care what people at work think about me. Right now, you're the most important thing to me.
I was knackered last night. I went out with a light.
It's the adrenaline. You get a rush, don't you?
Yeah, lucky the track was free, eh?
It's fate, man. It was meant to be. I'm telling you, a star's born.
Shut up.
Hey, you're good. I mean it.
I was all right. I was just mucking around, really.
Oh, come on, Ricky. You did a couple laps around the track, and your style wasn't any different to the other guys, and they're pros. I mean, you're not scared to take chances, mate. You really go for it.
Yeah, I really got a buzz out of it. Flying around the track was good.
Right.
But it probably won't happen again, though.
Well, why not? They don't mind if you have a go, and the guy said
No,
that...
I don't mean that. It's just, you know, I enjoyed it and that, but what if Bianca starts asking questions about all this community work I'm supposed to be doing? What do I say?
But why should she be interested? You fix engines, don't you? It's the same sort of thing. Sort of.
Well, Speedway, you trying to kid.
Dad, you got a room in those clothes? Where you work things?
They're back at the site. I changed there. It saves me coming back on the tube looking scrappy. You go on. We'll get a newspaper.
Sarah!
Oh.
You right? Glad I caught you. Listen, my mum's coming home today, and I was just wondering, do you want to come round for dinner, just to make it a bit special for her?
Oh,
So I'm going to clean the flat up and everything, make it a big surprise. She's not going to believe it.
Well, you sure you want people over? I mean, if it's her first day back.
Yeah, of course. I want you to come. You will, won't you?
I'm not sure.
Is my cock in or something?
No, of course not.
What is it then? What's wrong?
Oh, it's nothing really. No, I'd love to come, Joe.
Great. Hey, guess what? I've been talking to one of my mates from the community centre. Yeah? We're going to form a team and enter that local pool league. What do you think?
Well, the other teams better watch out.
Yeah, you're right. Listen, I'm going to go. I'm going to make a start in the flat. I'll see you later. I'll see you later, Mum.
Bye.
Right. There we go.
Morning.
Hiya. It's no good you pushing in, love. You'll have to wait your turn.
All right, Dad, how's the new job doing?
Oh, you know.
Not working you too hard, are they?
Not now, Tony. I want to have a word with Kath. Kath.
Sorry, Ted. Right. Just be a couple of minutes, all right, love? Here we go, lads.
Listen, I want to talk to you.
What are you doing here anyway? What, you lot got up at the crack of dawn?
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about. It's been a hitch.
What sort of itch?
Well, the thing is,
I don't believe this. They sat down all morning.
this is obviously not a good time to talk to you, is it? What are you doing when you finish here?
I'm meeting Pat for a drink.
Oh. What about this afternoon?
Me and Phil are taking Ben out.
Oh.
What's going on?
Look, I'll come round your place this evening, all right?
Yeah, sorry.
When you got anything better to do than us all day?
Nah. In fact, I've been thinking, it doesn't have to be just a hobby.
What are you talking about?
Well, let me put it this way. Do you want to work here for the rest of your life, or do you want to get paid to have some fun?
You got a fever or something?
No, I mean it.
Listen, this is what I get paid for, all right? And I've got to finish this before Phil gets back. Now, go on, clear off.
How about I meet you in the vicar after work, yeah? We'll have time to talk about it.
Yeah, all right.
Ruth. Oh, hi. I was going to come and see you later. How's things? Bad news. I'm not pregnant. Oh, Kate, I'm sorry. How do you feel?
Fine. Life goes on, doesn't it? Well, OK, I'm a bit fed up.
Well, we need to do something about that.
Like what?
Well, how about getting plastered?
Well, that sounds a bit drastic, but lunch would be nice.
OK, well, I'll see you in the Vic then.
OK.
Hey, all right for some, eh?
You're joking, and just there's not a cup of tea I've had today. I've been rushed off my feet.
Listen, Kathy, I've had a word with my boss.
Oh, what's he saying?
Well, I explained the whole situation about you and Ian, and I think I've managed to swing it.
Oh, that's brilliant, Ruth.
Yeah, Ben can have Lucy's place at the nursery. Well, provided Ian doesn't change his mind, of course.
I don't think he will. And anyway, you can't just chop and change when it suits him, can he?
No. So, it's all set up then?
Listen, Ruth. Phil says I shouldn't worry, but you don't think the other kids are teasing, do you?
No, of course not.
It's just, well, I know he's only slightly deaf, but if they all talk at once, he won't be able to make out what they're saying, will he?
Kathy, it'll be fine. Phil's right. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's not going to be a problem. Ben's going to bring me a nice bunch of kids. And anyway, I'll be there to keep an eye on them, won't I?
Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Ruth.
I don't know why you're so nervous, Peggy. It'll be okay.
How can you say that? I don't know what's going to happen, do I? The Vic means everything to me, George. You know that.
Hi, where are you off to?
Magistrate's court.
Oh, good luck.
Thanks. Listen, that bit of business we talked about?
I told you, I'm sorting it.
George?
Come in. See you later.
I don't want to be late on top of everything else, do I?
Just calm down.
Great, thank you very much. Bye.
Where's my lunch?
I didn't want to choose for you. I mean, you're just so independent these days, aren't you?
That's right. I'd rather get my own.
Yeah. I thought Wellard might fancy a snack.
Oh, thanks, Lenny.
Well, that's great. Make sure the dog doesn't starve, but it doesn't matter about me.
Yeah, well, he's got more things going for him than you have right now. For one thing, he's loyal.
Fellas, please.
So how's Sanjay taking it? Badly, of course. But then he's not the most patient man in the world, is he? No. I told him to wait and see, but oh no, he has to go charging ahead, full of plans. Must have known it wouldn't be easy. Sure, but despite everything he says, I don't think he seriously believed it could fail. As far as Sanjay's concerned, once he put his money down, the result was inevitable. That is so typical. Yeah, well, let's face it, most men are pretty stupid, aren't they?
I wonder how Mum's getting on.
Should be all right. Listen, this is more like it.
What?
It's from one of the breweries. They're setting up a darts league. We could start a team.
Yeah, but don't you need a pub for that?
Oh, don't you start. You're as bad as Peggy.
But Mum's right. We don't know what's going to happen, do we?
Are you going to try again? Well, we've budgeted for another go, but I don't think either of us could face it right now. I mean, I'm completely stressed out.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You know that when the women for the fostering service came round, I was totally paranoid. The minute she'd gone, I decided that she'd turned us down.
Why?
Because I forgot to clean the oven.
But that's ridiculous.
I know, and I really believed it as well.
We're both going mad, aren't we?
Max Townsend.
Yeah?
I'm Annie Palmer.
What do you want?
I think you know what I want. Councillor Dixon doesn't like it.
Not his good side, eh?
Very funny.
Like a murder, Barry. He put the idea into Roy's head in the first place. Well, let him go to the dinner, see how he likes it.
You really hate it, don't you?
Oh, no. Well, Kath, don't get me wrong, I'll try anything once. But raw fish.
Oh.
I nearly died when the chopsticks come out. Roy reckons I got to practice. I told him what he could do with his chopsticks.
Wait till it's your turn.
Oh, don't.
Mum, there you are.
What now?
So why does it have to be a woman's dance team, eh?
Well, it's high profile, isn't it? People will talk about it more. I will get into the local paper.
Tough.
Tell him, Pat, having a ladies' darts team is a brilliant idea, isn't it? It'll bring people into the Vic.
Yeah, always packs them in.
See?
So you're going to organise it, are you?
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Well, give us a chance. I've only just come up with the idea.
I was captain of a dart team once. Years ago, mine. When platforms were in the first time round.
Oh, so you know how it all works then?
So where's Lucy now?
Auntie Pauline's looking after her. But I mean, it's only for half an hour, Mum, please.
Well, I suppose me and Phil could take her up with Ben this afternoon.
Oh, Mum, you're an angel.
Ian, look, you can't go on like this, you know. It's not fair on Lucy, it's not fair on me come today.
It's all right, I'm sorting it out. I've spoken to one of those nanny agencies and I'm doing some interviews in the morning.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I hope so.
It will be all right, you know.
Yeah, you must have been brilliant if you was captain. I mean, that's the top job, isn't it?
You're not trying to butter me up by any chance, are you?
No, of course not. I'm just really impressed, that's all.
As far as I'm concerned, they were just doing their job.
You don't know what you're getting into. I'd stick to fates and golden anniversaries if I was you. That's more your line.
Don't tell me my business.
Someone should. You see, I know all about you, Max. How you were sacked.
I'm busy.
Not for very much longer, I shouldn't think.
Go on. Get out.
Don't try and act tough, Max. You're really not very good at it.
People like you make me sick. You think you can
Wouldn't
just...
be easy at your age, would it? lost this job, I mean. And of course, there's your family. You wouldn't want them to suffer in any way?
Don't you dare threaten my family.
Reporters a tenner penny, Max. Those to reliability. Get rid of them by the end of the week.
Well, what do you think?
Oh, I don't know, love. It's a lot of hassle, see.
Oh, let me get you another one of those on the S.
So, when are you going to put the poor girl out of her misery? Oh, yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Well?
She's going to crack, I can tell. There you go.
So, you see, love, I've got a full calendar at the moment. Dinner parties and the like.
Oh, she's very into mine, you know, Tiffany. Hostess with a mostess.
And if you're talking about a league here, well, I'd have to put aside at least a couple of nights a week for practice.
Oh, and of course, if you're practising, you'd have to have a drink on air, wouldn't you? Gratis, of course.
Several, I reckon.
You're winding me up, ain't you?
You were asking for it, love.
Well, this might just be a laugh to you, but I'm serious. So will you do it or not?
Yeah, of course I will.
Oh, good.
Cheers. Well?
Still got me licence.
Great. Just a fine, that's all. Told you, didn't I?
Could have done without that, though. 250 quid. Business is already down without that.
There's no pleasing you, is there? Could have had a bigger fine. At least you're off the hook now.
We, you mean? You two might have been out on your ear and all.
Let's forget it now, shall we? It's all over.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Have a cup of tea, mate. Ran out of water. Sorry.
I'd rather make my own. At least you know what's in it when you make it yourself, don't you?
All right, I'm not going to be around for the rest of the day, so if Vanessa calls, give her my mobile number, all right?
Oh, it's your big night tonight, isn't it? Where are you taking her?
Some poncy French place. Highly recommended, 5 stars and all that.
No expense spared.
Of course not. Classy lady like that.
Yeah, wrong class.
Shut up. I'm out of here.
Oh, you're home early.
Yeah, ran out of materials, didn't I?
Really? You didn't start too late, did you? That's not very good, is it?
But it happens. Anyway, how was your day at the refuge?
Well, I'm really glad I went. You're right to persuade me.
See, I told you, didn't I? Listen, I haven't made any tea.
Oh, don't bother for me. Joe's invited me round to his place.
Oh, yeah?
Well, Lorraine came home today, so it's sort of a surprise dinner. You don't mind, do you?
No, of course not. You go.
Right, says here should be 6 aside.
We'll have trials weed out the rotten shots.
Oh, yeah, you're the boss.
That's right, I am. I think Lorraine used to play once. I might have a word with her.
Well, there's plenty of other candidates. No, I don't really think she'd be that interested.
Do you want me to do this or not?
Yeah, of course. Hello, what can I get you?
Can I have a pint and a glass of white wine, please?
Yeah, do you fancy trying out for the ladies' darts team?
Yeah, the Vic Vixens. Why not? We've got to have a name.
Come on, you know you're good. You can't just throw away talent like that.
Look, I'd love to carry on, but it's just hiring a bike every week. It's going to cost, isn't it?
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I know a way you could save some money.
Yeah.
Buy your own bike.
I don't believe you.
I reckon with about 2.5, we could be in business.
£1,000?
Maybe it might take my mind off things for a while.
You would never hit the ball, darling. They don't make them big enough. Now, if it was the side of a
Thanks
house...
very much,
then it'd be
Sanjay. I think I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh, come on, I didn't mean it. You're going to be great. Really.
Actually, I'm rather glad you feel you can insult me again. At least you're not as miserable as you were this morning.
Yeah, well, there's no point, is there? We could try again straight away if you want.
Couldn't we just wait a while?
I was hoping you'd say that. I don't think I could take it, can you?
Me neither.
I mean, it's an investment. These guys earn some serious money.
You're off your head.
Listen, I know what I'm talking about.
I can't go and spend that kind of money on a bike. What about Bianca? She'll go mental.
This ain't about Bianca. This is about you, Ricky. Now, I can get my hand on 500 quid. It's yours.
You can't afford that.
I don't care. Like I said, I believe in you.
Yeah, but what's in it for you?
I want to be your manager. You'll need one.
You really mean this, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Look, you know, I think it's great, but
What are you waiting for? You've got one life to live, Ricky, and only you can live it.
Right, let's do it. Let's go for it.
Yes?
Yes.
You look really nice.
So do you.
Monsieur, Thanks, mate.
Madame.
Merci. Dites-moi, est-ce que la lotte a cuite au beurre ou à l'huile?
Au beurre, madame.
Elle t'approche?
Oui, bien sûr.
Vraiment.
I'm sorry, but your table isn't quite ready. Would you care to order the wine, sir?
I prefer red myself, but if you like white...
No. Red's fine. Bottle of your finest, please.
Which one?
Of course, it.
Come back in a minute. Don't worry about him, Barry. He's an idiot.
You must think I'm a right plonker. I know I do.
No. So you don't go to many French restaurants? So what?
Yeah, right.
As it happens, Barry. I think you're a right geezer.
I didn't know how to sort the beans overnight, did I?
Why did you ask me, silly?
Oh, it's a really nice thought, though, love. Thank you. You really spoilt me today.
It's okay. You can come around and clear our place tomorrow if you like.
No, Nigel, I really don't think so.
So what's it to be, then? Vegetarian specials, all right?
No, I think I'm going for the sausages.
Nigel?
Only if they died of natural causes,
Worked on my accent, studied wine, read books.
Yeah, I'd never guess you from Hoxton, not in a million years.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not ashamed of it.
No.
But I'm not stupid. I knew when I was 15 I had to find my way out of there if I was going to be successful.
And you did it, didn't you? Eh?
What's the funny?
You got some bottle. I'll give you that.
Thanks.
I reckon this calls for a bottle of bubbly, didn't you?
Brilliant idea. Oi, whoosh!
I've been pretending to go to work, but I can't keep it out much longer.
Well, why haven't you told Sarah? Well, that's stupid. She's better to find out sooner or later.
I know.
So how did it happen?
I lost my rag, didn't I? I'm not some kid who can take orders, especially from that git Charlie Napier. I told him where to shove his job.
I don't believe you. It took you long enough to get this job. What is wrong with you?
Nothing.
You can't just walk straight into another one now, you know.
It's all right.
No, it isn't. You can't afford to just jack it in like that.
If you let...
You got this job in the first place to pay off your debts. How are you going to do it now, eh?
Shut up and listen to me, Kath, will ya? I've got another one.
What didn't you say?
You didn't give me a chance, did you?
Well, that's great. I mean, what is it? Is it round here?
Not exactly, no. It's in Dubai.
I've never met anyone like you before, you know. You're really something.
I don't usually let my guard down.
Then why did you?
I like you. Don't underestimate yourself, Barry. You've got a lot going for you. We're out of the same mould. You're sharp, ambitious.
Made mistakes, huh? Big ones.
Who hasn't? You bounced back, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I suppose so. I haven't got the roller yet, though.
Won't be long, I reckon. What do you think? Midnight blue, beige interior.
If that's what you want, then I should put one on order.
Thanks. Just one thing. Make sure it's metallic, okay?
You know what? I don't like this place.
I'm starving.
Indian.
Let's go.
Cheers.
There you go. That drink's on the house. Soft drinks for those two, all right? I don't want to get into trouble again.
Thanks, Peggy.
What's the occasion?
Let's just say I've still got my licence and I'm celebrating.
Cheers.
What do you think you're playing at, Mum? We're trying to get punters in here so they spend money and you're giving free drinks away.
I've still got my pub, right? It's business as usual.
So, 2 job offers, eh? Lucky you.
Interviews, Nigel. They haven't offered me anything yet.
Yeah, they will do, though. Then they'll be fighting over you.
The opportunities are there. The standard of living's terrific. If I don't take this chance, Kath, I won't get another one.
Well, I suppose it doesn't have to be permanent. You could always come back in a year or so, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, if you're sure.
I am. The only problem is, I need to borrow the airfare. A short-term loan, that's all. I'll pay it back in no time.
Oh, I don't know, Ted. The old thing called ructions we've filled before.
Yeah, but the money I'll be earning, I'll be able to pay off everything. The lot, everything I owe. And I'll be laughing. If I stay around here, I'll never get my head above water. If there was any other way. Honestly, this is the best solution for everyone. You know I'm right, don't you?
How do you think Tony will take it?
He won't notice, probably.
Oh, that's not true. He cares more than you realise.
Anyway, he can look after himself.
Well, I suppose Sarah could always come here. We've got plenty of room.
Huh?
Well, you're going to have to organise somewhere for her to live while you're away.
No, she's coming with me.
You haven't discussed it with her.
What's there to discuss?
Did Joe tell you about the volcanic curry I cooked for him?
Oh, yeah, he phoned me especially. It really made me laugh. It sounds like you two had a really good time.
Listen, Mum, I'm going to walk Sarah home now. Is that all right?
Yeah, fine.
All right, I'll see you later.
All right.
See you later,
Bye.
mate.
Thanks for keeping an eye on him while I was away, Nigel.
Oh, no problem. He was fine. He's really got excited about this pool league thing.
Oh, I know it's all he's talked about since I've got back. And Sarah, of course.
Yeah, must be really pleased. Seems to have got a handle on his life now.
Well, the way he's been lately, could be any normal teenager, couldn't he?
It's my decision.
You can't do this to her, Ted. You can't decide something that'll change her whole life without even asking her first. It's not right.
Come off it, she's still a kid. She's got to do what she's told.
You'll never learn, will you? All you ever do is lie to her.
I don't.
You do. She doesn't know you've been sacked. She doesn't know about Dubai.
I don't need this.
I'm warning you, Ted. If you try walking all over Sarah again, she will hate you for it. And this time, she'll never forgive you.
And I kept a very low profile this time. Mind you, I was on the phone for hours to social services. You know, there was this new woman who'd only just heard about the refuge and helped her find out exactly what she was entitled to.
You're really enjoying it now, aren't you?
It might be really boring.
No, not at all. I think it's great. I mean, whatever makes you happy, well, makes me happy.
It's just really good to be involved in something. I feel like it's all starting to come together now.
Yep, I know what you mean. So what did you tell Bianca?
Well, I was just going for a quick drink. Any second-hand bikes in there?
Oh, I don't know yet. We'll have to have a look at the small lads first, yeah?
Yeah. Look, I can't be too long, though.
Late.
Well, they're hardly going to sack you, are they?
Yeah, that's not the point, Dad. Refuge works because everyone's there when they say they'll be.
Look, just 5 minutes. Have a bit of breakfast.
No, I haven't got time. Why are you here anyway? You still waiting for materials?
What? Yeah.
Yeah, well, you make sure they still pay you. It's not your fault, is it?
No, look, Sarah, will you come...
No, Dad, I've got to go. I'll see you later.
So, you in or not?
I don't know if I've got time, Pat.
Oh, come on, Kath, it'll do you good.
Well, who else you got? Full breakfast.
It was Carol, Gita, Peggy, Pauline, Bianca, Tiffany, Ruth, Annie Palmer.
Well, that's enough, isn't it?
They've only signed up for the trial. We haven't picked a team yet.
When is it?
Tomorrow night.
Go on, then.
There, that didn't hurt, did it?
I should warn you, I haven't played darts for years.
I'll remember to stand behind you then.
Morning. What's this, time and motion?
That's the ladies' darts team. Cass just volunteered.
Press games, more like.
Right, see you in the Vic tomorrow night, 7:30. Don't be late. Right.
Didn't know you could play darts.
Oh, we had a team years ago. Tiffany wants to start it up again. So, how'd you get on?
I didn't.
Ted.
I didn't get a chance, did I? She was rushing off to this refuge thing.
You can't keep putting it off.
I can't now.
Eh?
Just phoned Jimmy, told him I'll take the job.
Before you told Sarah?
She's all right. I'll talk to her tonight.
Yeah, well, make sure you do. And talk to her properly, explain things. Don't just drop in her lap and expect her to come to terms with it straight away.
She's a bright kid. She'll realise it's for the best.
Yeah. Oh, I should have your money for you by tomorrow if you still need it.
Yeah. Thanks, Kath. Didn't like to ask.
Well, I'll try and pick it up for you in the morning, all right?
Feel all right about it, or have I got another list of conditions?
I haven't told him yet.
Looks like we're both going to have an interesting night.
Thanks, darling.
It really knocks you back, you know.
Well, you try again, though.
Not straight away. I mean, I really want another kid. I know Gita does as well.
Then you should go for it.
Yeah, but it's what it does to your head, though. To go through all that again and come out with nothing.
I'm really sorry, Sanj.
Yeah. And what about you? Any joy?
I'm still waiting to hear.
Yeah? Oh, you'll be all right.
Well, I'm fine. It's Ruth I'm worried about. I mean, she's surrounded by kids all day, isn't she? Hardly the best way to keep your mind off it.
Nah.
And just in case we didn't have enough to worry about, I've got to go in for another test.
What for?
My CD4 count's low. They want to do something called a viral load test.
You've lost me, mate.
To check the level of HIV in the blood.
And what if it's high?
I don't even want to think about it.
Oh, what are you two looking so miserable for? Someone died?
No, we just heard you were about.
Oh, it's charming, that is. And there's me trying to help you all out.
Hey?
Here you go, tomorrow night.
What's this for?
Residents Association meeting in the community centre at 7 o'clock. Bring your valuables for marking.
I ain't got any valuables.
You got a video, haven't you? You know, TV, CD player.
You want me to carry my TV and video over to the community centre?
The more things you have marked, the more chance you got of getting them back if they get stolen.
Yeah, but walking around Walford with a video under your arm ain't a bad way of getting it nicked in the first place,
It's
is
only
it?
across the road.
But it's hardly practical, though, is it?
Just at least make the effort. I mean, everybody else is going.
I'll try. I can't say any more than that.
Yeah.
Oh, your loss.
All right, darling. Nice day for it.
Can I help you?
Oh, yeah, great. Cop the end of that. Stand by the door for us.
What are you doing?
I'm measuring up.
Yes, I can see what you're doing. What I want to know is why.
You see how long it is?
Here, Carol, stick one of these in the window for us.
Yeah, hang on. Would you mind telling me who you are?
Ross Thatcher.
What's going on?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Mason and Phillips?
Estate agents?
Yeah, commercial section.
Well, you still haven't told me what you're doing here.
I'm measuring up.
I'm going to hit him in a minute.
Listen, darling, it isn't difficult. I'm here to measure up, do a quick recce on the fixtures and fittings, then I'm back down the office to type it all up.
Well, I don't understand.
Are you saying this place is going on the market?
No.
Yes.
Well, since when?
8:30 this morning. Problem?
Ian, watch the shop for me.
Hold that for us, mate.
Hiya. Use your phone. Hey? I can't dial out on mine.
How about I cook us a meal tonight? What's the occasion? Does there have to be one? Well, the last time you cooked, England had just beat Spain in a penalty shootout. Exactly, so it's time I did it again, yeah? Yeah, OK. I don't think we've got much in, though. I'll get the stuff on my way home from work, yeah? See you later.
You want to talk to Mark? He's in the bike.
Yeah, I never thought of that. I've never liked motorbikes. I figured if you're bombing up the motorway at 90 miles per hour, a roof is a basic necessity.
You won't say anything to Bianca, will you?
Why not?
Well, she don't like me messing about with bikes.
She'll find out. Women always do.
Well, he's got a point there.
Yeah, well, by the time she does, I'll be earning loads of money, so she can't say anything, can she?
Bianca not saying anything.
It's an interesting concept.
Well, I'd like to be there when she does, you know, not say anything.
Definitely.
I don't believe it. What? Mrs. Andreas is only going to put the shop up for sale? No. She said she was going to come over this afternoon and tell me about it, which is a bit rich, considering I've got somebody over there now measuring up.
What are you going to do?
Well, that's as much as I can do, apart from wondering if I've still got a job.
She's really throwing herself into this dance thing, isn't she?
Yeah.
Those things haven't been going too well, and she's gone out there and done something about it. Bringing in business, helping the family.
You're not going to go all soppy on me again, are you?
No, I just think it's really lovely the way things have worked out, that's all.
Yes, Mum.
Thank you.
Yes, Mum.
Anyway, I've been thinking.
Oh, here we go.
I haven't said anything yet.
You don't have to. Every time you start thinking means I end up having to do something.
So you don't want to hear my idea, then?
No.
OK.
Go on in.
What?
Tell me your idea.
Didn't think you want to hear it.
Let's see without watching you rub all the varnish off the bar.
I don't want you doing me any favours.
Mum.
Right. Well, you know you didn't have a proper wedding.
You want us to get married again?
No, of course not. I just thought you could have it blessed.
Do what?
Have it blessed in a church and everything. We can get a photographer, have a party afterwards with a cake and all. Do it properly. Oh, God, what do you think?
I think we've just got over a christening.
So?
So 5 minutes ago, you're banging about how badly the pub's doing. Now you want to spend more money.
Yeah, well, me and George will chip in and we can have the party in here. That'll save a bit.
And we'll save even more if we didn't do it at all.
Oh, go on, Grant. Show everyone you're a proper couple. But you really want to be together. And not just because of Courtney. I think you owe Tiffany that much.
Never followed up before ever.
I'll buy her some flowers.
I only went over there to put up a poster. I ended up running the place.
Well, it must have been a shock for her.
That's not my fault, is it? Can you stick one of those up for us?
Yeah,
You're coming, aren't you, Mum?
yeah, of course.
Oh, and I've got the crime prevention officer coming over to give us a little talk as well.
Oh, right. How you getting on finding a nanny?
I've got to see 3 more this morning. Oh, I'll tell you what, Mum, it is murder. They're either young kids or they're old battle axes who think they know everything. You know, I'm starting to think I was better off keeping her at nursery.
Well, she can't go back. Well, Ben's taken her place. He started today.
Oh.
I meant to tell you, I just haven't had a chance. But you did say you want me sending Lucy back, so I just thought...
Mum, it's all right.
You don't mind, then?
No, of course I don't. Ben's my little brother, isn't he? I mean, good luck to him. No, I'll find someone soon. I mean, there's got to be at least one decent nanny in Walford.
Are you sure you're not being too fussy?
Probably. Mum, I don't want to leave her with just anyone. I want her to be the right person.
Well, there is someone else you could try.
Oh, yeah, who?
I was talking to Pat this morning. She was saying how she had a lot of time on her hands.
Pat?
Well, just till you find someone permanent, you could do a lot worse.
I don't think so.
Why not?
What, apart from the fact that both her sons slept with my wife?
That wasn't Pat's fault.
Yeah, but it hardly puts her at the top of the shortlist.
If it wasn't for Pat, you wouldn't have Lucy, remember? I think you could at least consider it.
Yeah, look, hopefully I'll find someone soon. Was I this much trouble when I was little?
No, it was no trouble. Only when you grew up the problem started.
Will you come with us then to have a look?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Go out and see whether it'll run or not, but there's other stuff, isn't there?
Do you know what you're looking for?
Yeah, something quick.
Well, it won't be cheap. You've got enough dough.
Yeah, I'm supposed to put it in the bank, but I think this is more important.
What, Bianca doesn't mind you using it?
Well, I haven't exactly told her yet.
About anything.
Don't you think you should?
Well, Lenny reckons with the right bike, I should be able to win enough to put it back before she even notices it's gone.
Well, what if you don't?
Oh, he will, no sweat. Boy's a natural.
Yeah, a natural what, though?
Nah, I'm telling you, with the right machine, he'll clean up.
Listen, Phil said I can have a couple of hours off tomorrow. Can you get something to cover the stall for you?
Don't see why not.
Oh, nice one. Listen, lads, we'll go for a beer later and discuss a plan of action, eh?
All right.
Ricky? What's this then, a mother's meeting?
Listen, I've got to get back to work. I'll see you
See you later.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. We're just having a chat.
What about?
Listen, I was just going to come over and see you.
Oh, saved you the trouble, haven't I?
I'd better go on. See you
All
later.
right, mate.
I know what you're talking about, Ricky. I ain't stupid.
Hey?
You were looking at them too, weren't you?
No.
Yes, you were.
I wasn't. I didn't even know they were there.
So what you looking guilty for then when I come over?
Didn't?
Did? Don't you fancy them, do you?
Of course not.
You liar.
Look, why would I look at them when I've got you, eh?
Because you're a bloke and you can't help yourself. So roll your tongue back in and you can buy me a cup of tea.
Where have you been?
Well, I told you yesterday I'd be a bit late, and I had to pick up some stuff for advertising on the way.
All right. Well, I've got a job for you and Lois Lane here. Get down to Walford East Tube Station. There's a new initiative against buskers and beggars. Go and talk to them before they're moved on. You know, get their names, where they're going to go.
It won't take two of us.
I thought you were a double act these days.
Well, we're not.
Well, take him anyway. He might learn something.
Since when has it taken 2 hours to do Watford and back?
Since they started digging up the North Cirque.
You'll find another route.
He did. That's why it took so long. He got lost.
No, I didn't. Well, let's just keep an eye on things, shall we? Because this fuel bill's high enough as it is.
Evans Executive Cars. Yeah, wait there 1 minute. Barry, it's for you.
Who is it?
Vanessa.
Hello? Hi. No, I wasn't doing anything. Well, nothing as important as talking to you, anyway. Will you excuse me a moment, Vanessa? You two, go and do some work.
Well, first pickup's not till 11:30.
Well, go and polish your wing mirrors, then. Sorry.
Do you reckon he's giving her the benefit then, or what? In his dreams. I reckon she's just stringing him along. Wants a bit of a discount. I mean, be honest, what would a bird like that see in Barry, especially when we're around? What's up with you? Still sulking, are we? I have to work with you. I don't have to talk to you. Oh, I forgot you've got a new friend now, haven't you? Ricky Butcher. 2 sad gits together. Well, at least he doesn't drop me in. You're not still harping on about Mark's place, are you? It's history. I'm not harping on. In fact, I'm glad it happened. Makes you realise who your mates are, doesn't it?
Spare some change. Spare any change.
So it's gonna be like this all the time, is it?
Like this? Spare some change, mate. I'm here to work.
Can't we at least talk about it?
Spare some change.
There's nothing to talk about. Hi.
Can you spare some change?
Yes, sure.
Cheers.
I'm from the Walford Gazette. Have you heard about the plans to clamp down on begging in the underground?
No.
How long have you been here?
About 10 minutes.
Polly, I need to talk to you.
And where will you go if you moved on?
Well, there's a couple of hostels.
Look, I'm sorry, okay? I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was just being honest.
I'm not interested. Sorry, you were saying...
Yeah, there's a couple of hostels.
Look, I thought you might understand.
You used me.
I didn't.
Then why didn't you tell me you were sleeping with someone else?
Well, that's what I was trying to do.
No, I meant before you slept with me, not afterwards to appease your guilty conscience.
It wasn't like that.
No, of course not. Do you know, I'm not even sure why I'm surprised. A man turns out to be a bastard, hardly front page news.
Oh, come on, that's not fair.
Not fair? What would you call it? Maybe I'm old-fashioned, it's just I prefer to sleep with one person at a time.
Well, so do I.
Oh, you made an exception for me, did you? I'm flattered.
Look, I didn't have to tell you. I told you the truth because I really care about you.
Mr. Integrity. And have you told him about me?
Him?
Well?
No, I haven't.
Why not? You didn't want to hurt him. Didn't want him to feel used.
It's different with Simon. I mean, we're together.
He's your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you're not going to tell him, maybe I should.
Holly, you wouldn't.
No, you're right. I wouldn't. Not for your sake, for his. And if you really think I could be that petty, then you're more pathetic than I thought you were.
He's up to something, I know it.
Do you think he's seen someone?
No, of course not. My Ricky's not like that.
Yeah, but you said he was acting strange.
No, I never. I said he was up to something, that's all.
Yeah, well, same thing.
No, acting strange is what a bloke does when they're having an affair. Looking as though they're up to something is what they do when they invite their mates round for football without telling you.
Do you think that's what he's doing then?
What?
Well, inviting his mates round to watch the football.
Well, I don't know, do I? That's what I'm saying.
All right. Right.
What?
Is there any football on?
When?
Well, any time.
Don't think so, what?
Oh, nothing. Can't be that then.
I'm just using that as an example, that's all.
So what sort of things he been doing then?
Talking to people, changing the subject when I'm there.
Well, maybe he's planning a surprise for you.
What sort of surprise?
Oh, I don't know, do I? It wouldn't be a surprise then, would it?
Thanks, Tiff. I feel a whole lot better now.
See? Things don't seem so bad when you talk about them, do they? Yes, Pat.
Hello for the boss.
Have you said anything to her?
What about?
A church blessing.
Mum, don't go on about that again, please.
But we've made arrangements for tomorrow.
We'll have to change them then, won't we?
But you want us to cancel a dinner party for a game of darts?
Well, I've already told everybody to be here. I can't do that and then not turn up myself, can I?
But darts, I mean, it's not exactly us, is it?
What?
That's a bit common.
No, it ain't.
Look, I don't mind you doing it. It's just I don't see why you have to do it tomorrow, that's all.
Because I've made the arrangements, that's why.
All right, then. I'll see if I can move it to next week.
Sure you want me to come? You've been so common and that.
Oh, come off it, Pat. I didn't say that.
As good as?
Then I'm sorry, I didn't intend to.
I'm sure you didn't. Any more than I would say your dinner parties were boring.
They're not boring.
I didn't say that, did I?
Didn't you?
Huh. Just like you didn't say that me playing darts was common.
Right. Hello.
Because it's not that easy, that's why. All right. Today.
Thanks.
Tea, please.
Tea. Working?
Yeah, just been doing a story about beggars on the underground.
Oh, yeah? She don't need a bed for the night, does she?
You could ask her, but I wouldn't recommend it. There you go. Cheers. You sure we got enough?
Yeah. No thanks to you.
Holly, please don't be like this, eh?
We're here to work. The subject is closed. In fact, there isn't even a subject.
All right, if that's what you want.
It is. Hello? Yeah, we've just left the tube station. Well, I thought we'd go and get a few more quotes, then come back here and maybe get some photos during the rush hour. Maybe after 6. OK. Bye. That was Max. He wants us back at the office tonight.
What for?
He didn't say.
Well, they can't just do that, can they?
Well, it's not up to me, is it? I mean, I'm just a hired help. But still, it shouldn't make any difference to you. I mean, your job should still be safe. Well, she said she can't speak for the new owner.
They're not going to find a new buyer overnight, though, are they? Not if they only put it on the market this morning.
I don't know, I'll just have to wait and see what happens, I suppose. Mrs. Andreas is over there now. She's giving me the rest of the morning off. Well, all 43 minutes of it.
Work is very important, Gita.
I think that was the hint. See you later.
Yeah.
Whiskey, please, Peggy.
Right.
I'll tell you what, make it a double, actually.
Ooh, rough morning.
You could say that.
Ian, just a man.
What?
You don't know a decent builder, do you?
Why, you got problems?
I hope not. We need some work done on the front of the house.
Yeah, I'll drop a number around for you later.
Cheers.
All right.
£2.90, please.
Here you go, Peg.
Ah, thanks.
Not interrupting, am I?
Oh, Ian, no, sit down now.
How's things? Busy? Yeah. Well, sort of what I wanted to talk to you about. Well, Pat, really.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been interviewing nannies.
All right. How'd you get on?
Well, I didn't.
Oh.
I mean, it might be me, but I just didn't like any of them. Anyway, I was talking to my mum this morning, and she said you had some time on your hands, and I thought you could help me out with Lucy.
Ian, I'd love to.
Yeah, I mean, it'd only be temporary. I mean, just until I get something more permanent sorted out. I mean, I'd pay you, obviously.
Oh, no, you won't. I'm pleased to help if I can, but I'm not taking your money.
But, Pat, I've got to pay someone anyway.
I don't care. I'm just glad you felt you could ask me after everything that's happened.
Well, like I said to Mum this morning, it wasn't your fault, was it?
You all right?
Yeah,
Look, can I ask you something?
of course.
You know you didn't have a proper wedding day like Bianca's.
Yeah.
Or does that bother you not having a church doing everything?
Well, I think it would have been nice, but I don't really think it's important, do you?
No.
What's put all this on?
No, it was just something Mum said.
What?
About having the wedding blessed.
What, in a church?
Yeah, so, what do you think?
What do you think?
I told her it was a daft idea.
Oh, yeah. Probably be really expensive.
Yeah, we've just had the christening.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yes, mate.
Well, it's got to be worth watching just for the crack.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't miss it. But you see, I don't understand why women want to play dance anyway. It's a man's game.
No such thing as a man's game anymore, is there? I mean, you've got female football team, women cricket players, snooker players.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I blame the French.
Why?
I don't know, you've got to blame someone, haven't you?
I mean, you've got even women boxers nowadays. I mean, the world has gone mad. Yeah.
What are you two moaning about?
Women in sport.
What about them?
Well, we're just saying there's no such thing as a man-only sport anymore.
Suppose not. Not unless you count sitting in pubs moaning about their other halves.
See you, fellas.
See ya.
So why didn't you tell me you thought it was a good idea? Well, I don't know. I'm just glad we're back together. I didn't want to push my luck. Well, who's the one who asked you? Yeah, I know. And then I got all excited, and then he said it was a daft idea and that we weren't going to do it anyway. I mean, I was gutted. So what's brought all this on? I don't know. I think Peggy must have said something to him. Well, if it's what you want, you've got to tell him. No, it's best left alone, isn't it? Would be nice, though.
Grant, the lager's gone. Check the barrel.
Yeah, right.
Blimey, it's James Bond.
Yeah, it's called Style, Nigel. Still, you wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
You off out?
Yeah, I'm taking Vanessa to the dogs.
Who said romance was dead?
What can I get you?
Have a pint, please, Peggy.
Cool. I haven't been to the dogs for years.
Yeah, it's all got up market these days. You know, they've got a restaurant, bars, you can bet at your table. Ah, you can't beat it. The thrill of the race and money changing hands. It's very sexy.
What's she like then, this Vanessa?
See for yourself. Are you? Right.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
thank you. I don't know what I'm going to do. I need this job.
You'll still have a laundrette.
Well, that's not enough. I don't want to go on the social again.
But we'll manage. Besides, whoever takes over will probably keep them anyway.
She'd never done this without telling me.
It's her shop. She can do what she likes. Now stop worrying about things that haven't happened yet.
There you go.
Oh, thanks a lot, Peggy. Cheers. So, do you feel lucky?
I've always thought of gambling as more of a science, actually, you know, studying the form, working out the odds.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Do you know a lot about dogs, then?
Let's just say I know a sure thing when I see it.
Oh, sorry I'm late. I had to wait for Jane to come and take over. What's all this?
Well, you've been slaving over everybody else all day. I thought you deserved a bit of looking after yourself.
Oh, Dad, that's really sweet.
Well, don't get too excited. It's only a salad.
Well, I bet it's lovely. I'll nip up and have a quick wash.
No, they're not a bad lot.
I thought your father had been there.
Oh, he is usually. Must have just missed him.
Is he still involved in the business?
Ah, he's semi-retired, really. I mean, he's there if I need him, but these days he tends to leave everything to me.
Must trust you. That's night.
Yeah.
Can we make it my treat? Sort of a thank you present.
What for?
Getting you such a good price on the cars. And you paid last night.
No, tonight's on me. No offence, but I don't hold with women paying the bill.
An old-fashioned boy.
If you like. You haven't got anything against that, have you?
No. In fact, I quite like it.
So, how does the day go?
Okay.
Is that it? Okay.
Well, it was a bit hard at first, but I'm really starting to think I'm doing some good. You know, helping.
Yeah. Look, I know I haven't been very supportive in what you're doing, the refuge and everything, but I'm very proud of you, you know. It just took me a bit of time to realise that, well, you've grown up.
Well, I'm not sure I have yet. I just know that what I'm doing feels right.
Wish I'd have done something useful when I was your age.
Well, we can't all be the same, Dad. Anyway, Alex says it's not where you start, it's where you finish. You know, he wasn't exactly an angel before he found God, and he doesn't expect anyone else to be.
So I'm not a disappointment to you then, eh?
No. Well, you never have been.
I've done some stupid things over the past year or so.
So have I.
But we come out the other side, eh? Like always.
Yeah. Well, what is it?
Eh?
We've got something on your mind, I can tell. Is it work?
No. Sort of, in a way.
Well, come on then, tell me.
Well, what do you want? The good news or the bad news?
Bad.
I lost my job.
Oh, Dad, no.
Actually, it was a week or so ago.
What?
I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to worry.
Well, that's silly. I don't want you keeping things from me. I want to help.
I know, I'm sorry.
So, what's the good news?
I found another job.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, where? Doing what?
Well, that's a good part. Site manager. And I'll be working with Uncle Jimmy again.
Jimmy? What, is he back?
Sort of.
Well, so when do you start?
When I can get there.
I don't understand.
It's in the Middle East. Dubai.
What?
I know, it's a bit of a shock. But Jimmy says it's brilliant out there. 12 months' work. He says the money's fantastic and they throw in a house. It'll give me a chance to get my life back together again.
Come in.
Sorry we're late, Max, but we've got some great stuff.
Shut the door. There's no easy way to say this, so I'll get straight to it. I've got to let the pair of you go.
What?
You can work out the rest of the week or you can go straight away. You'll be paid up to the end of the month.
Why? What have we done?
You haven't done anything. It's orders from on high. We have to make some cuts in the editorial team.
This is about Dixon, isn't it? They've got to you.
No one's got to me.
You spineless git.
I've said what I've got to say. I think you better leave before you say something you regret.
Oh, I'll say something, all right. You can tell your friends that if they thought they had trouble before, they haven't seen anything yet.
I can't do labouring anymore.
I know. And I know how hard things have been for you.
Then you don't mind?
Well, if it's what you really want, then I'm happy for you.
I knew you would be. It's the best move I've ever made. I know it is. Wolford was a mistake. We should never have come here. But I've got another chance now. A chance to do something with my life.
I know you've never really been happy here. I'm gonna miss you so much.
What?
I'm gonna miss you.
No, you don't understand. It's not just me I'm talking about. You're coming with me.
Holly! Holly! We can't just let him get away with this, you know.
What do you suggest?
I don't know. We go back up there and have it out with him.
It wouldn't do any good. Anyway, I want to hang on to what little self-respect I've still got.
You can't just go off. What about me?
Oh, what about you?
I've just lost my job.
Tough.
You're the one who started all this.
Yeah, and I'll finish it too, on my own. What's up, Tony? Feeling sorry for yourself? Feel like you've been led on and then dropped when you're not needed anymore? Well, don't take it too personally, eh? Because there's a lot of it about.
You can't do this! Hey, it'll be a good night, as long as you don't get a dart in the back of your head. Absolutely. Yeah?
Where's Neelam?
She'll be over soon. She had some business in town.
What sort of business?
Well, how am I supposed to know?
So what time will she be back?
I don't know, do I?
Thanks, things are a lot clearer now.
Hey, what did I say?
Grant. Do you want a cup of tea?
Oh, just a breakfast.
Right, listen, I've got a business proposition for you.
Oh, yeah?
I've got a video.
Of course you have, Nigel. You work in a video shop.
No, a video recorder. It's a bit hot.
Well, maybe you wired it up wrong.
No, not that sort of hot, you know. Hot.
Oh, hot. That's unlike you, Nige.
Yeah, I know. One of the drivers brought in, said he'd go halves with me if I could shift it.
How much?
It's got a 14-day timer, remote control, standard
How
long
much?
play, search facility, and unique tracking system.
How much?
What do you think?
50?
100.
55.
90.
60.
80 for cash.
65.
Hang on. You're going up in 5s. I'm going down in 10s.
So?
I just thought I'd mention it. Where were we?
You're on 80.
Right, 80.
You already said that.
Sorry, 70.
65.
That's it, isn't it?
Yes, Nige.
Right, 65 it is. Pleasure doing business with you.
people's lives?
You know what he's like.
Oh, that's a great help.
Look, I'm sorry, but I don't see what I can do. Now you coming in?
What's the matter with you? I tell you that Dad's leaving the country and they want me to go with him and you don't bat an eyelid.
Sarah. Right, she's just having her breakfast at the moment. Now, she'll probably want something before lunchtime. Try and give her an apple or a banana or something.
Yeah, right.
Now, I've made up a bag of her favourite toys.
Ian, we'll be fine.
I'm going to be in and out most of the day, but there's my mobile number just in case.
Do you want me to give her a tea before you pick her up?
No, it's all right, I'll do it here. Auntie Nellie's coming round tonight to babysit.
Oh, you coming to the darts then?
What darts?
Well, at the Vic, we're holding trials for the ladies' darts team. We should be moved.
Tonight?
Yeah.
It's just the women, though.
Well, they're bringing their other halves. Who else is going to buy the drinks? Why?
It's a residents' meeting in the community centre tonight. I've got the crime prevention officer coming.
Well, can't you come over after?
It's not me I'm worried about. It's everyone else.
What time's your meeting?
7.
Well, there you go, then. We don't start till 7:30. People will come to you on the way to us.
So you're coming then?
Oh, I don't know. Well, by the time I've cooked an evening meal and got myself ready...
Great. Look, can't you move your darts thing to another night?
No, it's been arranged.
So's mine. But you can't tell me that playing darts is more important than a residents' meeting.
I'm sorry, Ian. I mean, you'll have to ask Peggy, because she's laid on food and everything.
Can't make you go out, no, if you don't want to.
He thinks he can. I tried talking to him this morning, but he wouldn't even listen to me. And Tony wasn't much help either.
Well, what about Kathy? He might listen to her.
I don't think anyone could talk to him the way he is. He's got it fixed in his mind that he's doing what's best for both of us and just blanks everything else out.
I really don't want you to go, Sarah.
Neither do I. But he just won't understand that I've got my own life in Walford. I'm really starting to enjoy what I'm doing at the refuge. And I've got my A-levels. And I've got you.
Do you want me to talk to him?
No, I think that'd just make things worse. This is something I have to do for myself.
As long as you know that I'm here for you, if you need me. You can't go, Sarah. I won't let you.
I don't know if I can make him understand.
You've got to.
She's hardly a kid anymore.
She's 16. In my eyes, she's still a kid. Still my responsibility. I'm doing what's best for her, she'll see that.
But have you talked to her about it properly? Not just told her?
She'll be fine.
I really think...
Oh, come on, Kath. The last thing I need is another argument.
I thought you said you didn't argue.
We didn't. She just needs time to come to terms with it. So how about letting her get on with it, eh?
Yeah. Here's the money for the plane tickets.
Oh, thanks, Kath. I really appreciate that.
2 teas, please, Mick.
I'll make sure you get it back as soon as I get over there.
You still here?
Hey?
Well, I wouldn't mind a job like yours. Go in when you want, do a couple of hours, come home again.
Have you got time for a cup of tea?
Oh, no, I've just ordered some to take out. We're a bit short-handed. So, are you going into work or what?
No. I got some stuff to write up. I thought I'd do it at home. It's quieter.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
It's all right for some.
Simon, your teas.
All right, cheers. Be around lunchtime?
Yeah.
Good. You can buy me a beer. See you in the Vic.
See ya.
All right, Sam?
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I've a bit of news for you.
You're going to Dubai?
Huh?
Well, Sarah come round this morning. She's not very happy, you know.
Well, she just had to get used to the idea, won't she?
Don't you think you're being a bit selfish, Dad?
No, I don't. Sarah's my responsibility, and I'll decide what's best for her.
For you, you mean?
Look, it's all right for you. You've got a future here. Decent job. Chance to make something for yourself. I haven't.
She won't go with you.
Yes, she will. Whatever else Sarah is, she's bright. She needs a bit of time, I'll give her that. Once I've explained it to her properly, she'll see what a great opportunity it is.
I wouldn't count on it.
Trust me, I know her.
Wow, what a team. Hey, there's no stopping us now, mate. You'll lead the field on Sunday.
Look, I'm gonna have to take it out before then, just to get the feel of it, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Where are you going to keep it?
In the arches. Look, if anyone asks, it's Leonard's, all right? Because if Bianca finds out, she'll do a nut.
Come to think of it, better not say anything to Ruth either.
Hey, what is it with you two? You're mice or men?
You'll find out one day.
Yeah, well, you're the best advert for staying single I've ever seen.
So is Ricky coming?
Of course he is.
Yeah, Sanjay too. Trouble is, I don't know if they're coming to cheer us on or to take the mickey.
I don't think they need much of an excuse to have a drink, do you?
No, I suppose not.
What are you two up
to?
We're not up to anything.
You don't just nick that, have you?
No, it's mine.
It's a bit skinny, isn't it? It's more like an hairdryer.
Yeah, very funny. Come on.
Well, you'd be better off taking it straight to the dump.
What?
Where you been all morning?
Oh, Phil sent me to pick a car up.
Where is it then?
What?
Car he sent you to pick up.
Well, it wouldn't start, would it?
Ricky, you're a mechanic.
Yeah, well, I didn't have the right parts, did I?
You've seen Mark Fowler and Lenny pushing a bike.
Yeah.
You ain't helping that Lenny again, are you?
No.
He's a right old heap. You're probably looking for a skip to dump it on. Where are you going now?
I've got to get back to work.
Hurry up then. Phil will be wondering where you are.
Right, well, I'll see you later, yeah?
All right, Ricky, you put that money in the bank yet?
No, I was going to try and do it dinner time.
Yeah, well, make sure you do, all right?
We're closed. Where's your mum? You've got a darts thing tonight.
Yeah, that's right, love.
But I've got a residents' meeting in the community centre.
Well, I can't help that, can I?
I've booked a crime prevention officer.
Well, I didn't know.
You've had a poster up for nearly a week.
Yeah, well, there's nothing we can do about it now, is there?
And why the community centre anyway? I thought you had your meetings in here.
Because I thought I was going to be mobbed, didn't I? You know, people bringing their TVs and videos and everything. Look, can't you move your darts thing to another night?
No way. Tiffany spent ages arranging it.
Well, so have I.
Look, your thing starts at 7. Ours doesn't start till p30.
They're not going to come to me on their way to you, are they?
Well, I'm sorry, Ian. I really don't know what I can do about it.
What's going on here?
It's your darts trial. It's clashing with Ian's meeting at the centre.
Oh, well, why don't you have a meeting over here?
I can't. I've booked the crime prevention officer and it's all set up.
We'll bring him over here then. We'll all be in the public bar anyway, and we can set you up a little table and that.
He's not supposed to do it in a pub. Not unless he's got his own room.
Oh, he won't mind. Not if you tell him it's emergency.
But I've advertised it's the community centre.
Look, put a note up on the door telling everybody to come over here and we'll do them a few extra sandwiches.
Makes a lot of sense.
Oh, doesn't look like I've got much choice, does it?
So how much it cost you? Oh, not that much. Lenny reckons she was a real bargain. She? The bloke in the shop said a good bite should feel like a woman.
It's strong, isn't it?
No, I know what he means, though.
Yeah, well, I'm going out for a bit of dinner, so you two can be on your own.
This bike's gone around me a fortune, I know it. I reckon my prize money will cover what it cost him in less than 3 months.
Good. You'll need it, because if you don't sort out these cars, you're going to be out of work.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. You're right, I remember when I got my first car, I polished it for a week.
I'll tell you what, you want to hear the engine on it, sweet as the night it is.
I take it you ain't told Bianca yet?
No.
But you're going to, right?
No, I don't have to. I want to win enough money to put it back before she finds out.
So, why don't you let me stay, man? I could help you explain to him.
No, Joe, this is my problem and I have to deal with it.
All right. I'll just don't let him push you around.
Right.
You promise?
Promise.
What are you doing here?
I asked him over for coffee.
She's not their friends now or something.
Joe?
I think you better go, don't you?
Call you later.
Okay, bye.
Been telling him what a wicked dad I am, have you?
I told him what you were doing, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I have to talk to someone.
Oh, you can talk to me.
Well, I've tried and you won't listen.
Well, I'm listening now.
Okay. I want to stay.
You can't. Next.
You call that listening?
I'm not putting up with your tantrums, Sarah. I've told you what's going to happen, and the sooner you get used to the idea, the better. Where are you going?
Out.
So when's he going then?
Soon.
How soon?
Couple of weeks.
Well, that's probably the best thing for him. Nothing much for him around here, is there?
No. Sarah's not too happy about it.
Yeah, well, don't get caught in the middle again. Remember what happened last time?
Yeah.
So what, they paying for his flight over then?
No, they pay for his accommodation and that once he's there, but he has to pay for his own flight.
No way. Thought he was skint.
He is.
Please don't tell me we've lent him any more money.
I had to, Phil. There was no one else he could ask.
Yeah, that's because no one else is stupid enough to give it to him. How much?
1,000.
$1,000?
Money for the flight and a bit to tide him over. It's just a loan he's going to pay us back once he's settled.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't hold your breath.
He's my brother, Phil. He's spent enough time worrying about your family. Now it's my turn for a change.
Only it ain't a change, is it? I mean, he still ain't paid us back from the last time.
Well, if he takes this job, then he'll be able to, won't he?
Look, are you going to get that or what?
Sorry, this is about time.
No. Me and Kath were just saying how important family was, weren't we, Kath? I'm going back to work.
All right.
Oh, yeah, got you one in.
Oh, cheers.
I haven't got long. The Kapoors are having a board meeting or something.
That's okay.
So, you finished your work?
Hey?
At home?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, great. You can come and give me a hand then, if you're not doing anything.
Yeah, all right. I can help you tomorrow as well, if you like. And the next day.
Hey?
I've been sacked.
What?
I was sacked last night. Me and Polly.
Well, why?
Cutbacks or so, they said. Polly thinks it was because we was poking our nose into something we shouldn't. We're doing this great story, you know. The sort of stuff Max told me about when I first started.
What story?
Local corruption. Councillor taking backhanders.
And you think that's why you got sacked?
Well, Polly does.
Why didn't you tell me?
I don't know. I don't think I believed it, really.
What are you going to do?
There's nothing I can do, is there?
Yeah, well, if Polly's right, you can sue him for wrongful dismissal. Take him to a tribunal. As long as you stick together.
Nah. No, it wouldn't do any good.
Why not?
I just know it wouldn't. All I can do now is try and find another job.
So, have you thought any more about this church blessing?
No.
Oh, I wish you would. Not for you, but for Tiffany.
Tiffany's all right, Mum.
She deserves it.
It's hassle.
Oh, Grant, you should do this for Tiff. That girl's done everything you've asked of her. Give her a bit back, eh?
I don't want to stop him going. I just don't want to go with him. That's why I'm here. I wondered if I did stay, could I stay with you and Phil?
It's not that easy, Sarah. Besides, it didn't exactly work out last time, did it?
But I won't be any trouble this time, I promise.
I know you wouldn't. But where you stay isn't the problem, is it? It's convincing your dad.
I intend to. I won't go, Auntie Kath. I don't care what he says.
He does love you, you know. If he didn't, he wouldn't care if you went or not. You've got to convince him that staying here is what's best for you.
I know that. But if I told him I could stay here...
No, Sarah. You sort things out with your dad first, then we worry about where you stay.
I've never met anyone like her before. Everything about her is perfect.
Sounds like you're smitten.
I think I am.
Look, I'm glad you met someone, son, and I want to meet her when the time's right, but don't get too carried away, eh? Not just yet. Let's wait and see what happens.
Play it cool, you mean?
If you like.
You're right. Best not to appear too eager.
I think him and Kath must have had an argument, you know. It was all right when he left.
We don't argue much, do we? Not really.
No, I suppose not.
It's because we do everything together. We ain't got to argue about what the other one's doing, have we?
No.
Well, that's what Mum said. Don't have any secrets.
Do you want another drink?
No, not yet. I mean, if you did have a secret, you would tell me, wouldn't you?
Well, it wouldn't be a secret if I told you, would it?
Well, no, not once you told me. But if you did, you would tell me, wouldn't you?
Of course.
So have you then?
What?
Got a secret?
No, why?
You just look like you have.
How can I look like I've got a secret?
Just got that sort of face.
Oh, thanks very much.
Well, you've been doing a lot of whispering lately.
Whispering?
Yeah, to that Lenny.
Look, we've just been talking, that's all.
Well, what about?
I don't know, stuff. I can't remember.
Well, I hope you're not lying to me, Ricky.
Look, what is all this about? I haven't done anything.
Well, that's all right then. Just checking. I'll have to have a drink now.
Gita, I don't see that we've got much choice. We've got to give it another go.
But I thought we decided to wait.
Yeah, I know what we said, but I can't stop thinking about it. No, Shamila needs a brother or sister. And if IVF is the only way it's going to happen, then we've got to do it. And whatever you say, I know that's what you want as well, so why kid ourselves?
Well, I just didn't think you wanted to go through all that again so soon.
Yeah, well, I don't. But if that's the only way it's going to happen...
You know if we do it again, we can forget about buying the flat for a while.
Oh, yeah, but we've got to get our priorities right.
What about Neelam? Do you know what her plans are? I mean, is she staying?
Well, I don't know, do I?
Well, then maybe you should ask her.
No, she might think we want her to go.
Look, I think it's quite reasonable to find out how long she's planning to stay.
Well, you ask her.
Maybe I will.
Can I buy you a drink, Mum?
No, thank you.
So, what's all this about?
I have a proposition for you, for us.
What kind of proposition?
Now that you no longer have the factory, this family needs a business of its own.
We've got the stall.
True, but it has no roots, no stability. I was thinking of something more tangible.
Well, like what?
This morning, I went to see the estate agents dealing with the first and last.
In Brit Street?
Yes. I spoke to Mrs. Andreas on the telephone, and I've been making some calculations myself. I have enough capital to meet the asking price, so I don't need a mortgage. All that remains is the value of the stock, which is where you come in.
Where?
If we go into this, it must be as a family. If you can raise the cost of the stock, I'll buy the shop.
And how much will that be?
£3,000. Well, is it a deal?
I've got 12 names here. So what do you want to do? I mean, how do you want to do this?
I don't know. What do you think, Rob?
Maybe it's better just playing a few games and taking everyone's average.
Average what?
Well, how many they score with 3 darts?
Oh, that sounds fair.
Yeah, OK, so we set up matches so everybody plays each other.
Right.
OK, then we take an average, like Grant says, and the first 5 come in the team with me. The next 2 can be reserves.
Reserves? What, in case someone gets injured or something?
No, in case they can't make it to the match.
You haven't seen her play.
How's it going?
Oh, fine. We're taking some averages and the top 5 make the team.
Oh, sounds like you got it all worked out. Might as well have a drink while we're waiting.
Grant, where do you want me to set up?
All right, over there, do you?
What about chairs?
Well, how many do you need?
A dozen?
Well, there's a couple of passive ones out in the storeroom. You just need the rest in the bar.
Right. Hi, I'm looking for Mr. Beale.
He's over there.
Mr. Beale? Yeah, oh, you must be PC Crow.
PC Crow, that's
oh,
right, yeah.
Good.
Thank you very much.
He's been out all day. You know, I think he's doing it on purpose so that he doesn't have to talk about it.
Sounds like the old man. Just ignore it and it'll go away.
You know, I'm not spending another day like this. I don't care if I have to sit around until midnight. I have to make him understand that I'm not going with him.
Maybe I should wait with you.
No. No, I have to do this on my own.
You know what the problem is, don't you?
What?
You're both as stubborn as each other.
And you're not, I suppose.
Me? Nah.
Sorry about all this.
Oh, don't worry about it. Things like this are always a bit hit and miss.
You're not going to get in trouble, are you? You know, us being in the pub?
Not unless my governor comes in.
Look, should we give it another half hour?
Yeah, whatever you think.
Fancy a drink?
Go on then, I'll risk a swift half. This could be the best thing that's ever happened to us.
I know, but the money worries me. We've just decided to try IVF again.
Yeah, but Mum says we'll recoup whatever we invest in the shop in the first 3 months.
We're stretching ourselves a bit thin.
Yeah, Mum ain't even got the shop yet. Let's just wait and see what happens, all right?
Where you been? You're on in a minute. I'm sorry, I can't get Ben off to sleep. Never mind, you're in that. You're on after Pauline and Peggy, right?
Right.
Give me a drink.
Evening.
Oh, hi, Kath.
How long you been in here?
Not long.
Saw Sarah earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think you should be home sorting things out rather than sitting in here?
Just on my way. See you later. Hey, cheers.
Nigel! Oh, good man! Oh, that's his son around. He's got a bit of sense. Come on over here.
No, I can't.
We were just about to pack up. Come on. This is Nigel Bates. He runs a local video shop.
Very meet to please you. I'm pleased to meet you.
Let's have it then.
Hey?
The VCR.
What VCR?
The one under your arm.
Oh, that one, right. Sorry.
New, is it?
No, I've had that for ages now.
Looks new.
Yeah, I don't use it all that much. You know, hardly at all, actually. It was a present.
Right. Well, I'll need your address.
19 Canal Street.
I thought you lived in George Street.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, I'm moving along.
But just your house number and postcode will do.
Yeah, all right. 19 E20 5HD. What's all this about then?
Well, if it's stolen...
It isn't.
No, but if it is, and we recover it, then we can make sure it finds its way back to you. There you go.
Is that it now?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Grant, I've got your video for you.
Cheers.
That nice policeman over there has just marked it for you.
What?
Never mind, just take it. Take it.
starting to worry about you.
Yeah. I had some things to sort out. Stopped off for a quick one on the way home.
Oh. Have you eaten?
Yep. I saw Kathy. She said she'd been to see her.
Yeah.
Said I had to listen to what you had to say.
That's all I want.
Go on, then. I'm listening.
Come on, go on, Tim.
That's it.
Oh, go on, darling, another go.
Saw my whole life flashing before my eyes.
She's a good girl, isn't she?
Yeah, well, you don't expect it, do you? Coppers waiting to mark stolen goods in East End boozers.
Nigel.
What?
Get lost.
Charming. I've good mind to take my tab somewhere else.
Mum's been saying about getting a wedding dress, you know, going the full Monty, giving Tiff a big day.
Good idea.
You think so?
Well, she's been through a lot, hasn't she? I mean, the rain, the baby and that. She stuck by you.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you don't want it.
Not really.
Well, if Mum's on the case, she might not have a lot of choice.
True. And I don't suppose it'd make that much difference, would it?
No. Besides, the family should have at least one happy couple.
Good problems.
No, not really.
Right, is that it then?
I'll go and tie up the last few.
I think I did quite well then.
Oh, I was useless. Actually, I quite enjoyed it and I haven't played for years.
Wasn't too bad, was it? No. At least it took my mind off of things for a while, like worrying if I've still got a job next week.
Look, I've been thinking
Yeah.
about this blessing business. Maybe we should look into it.
Oh,
Like Mum says, we should have one round here that me and you together properly, you know.
okay. That's what you want?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
What's all that about? Well, I'm not sure, but I think Grant just proposed.
You did really well, both of you.
Oh, Annie was really good.
Sign of my misspent youth.
Oh, I had one of them and all. Didn't play darts, though.
Well, I think you were both brilliant.
Right, got the results.
Oh, good. Right. Listen up, everybody. The 5 highest averages and the Queen Vic's New Ladies Darts team are Carol.
Oh, yeah!
Kathy.
Yeah!
Peter. Ruth. Annie. And the next 2 highest will be our reserves are Pauline and Bianca.
Hey, Peggy, where did I come?
11th.
Oh, there was only 12 of us.
You just need a bit more practice, love, that's all.
There's just so much for me here. I feel like I'm really starting to get somewhere, that I'm a person in my own right, making a difference. Do you understand?
Is that it?
I think so.
Well, I've listened to what you had to say, given you a chance to tell me what you think. And all I've had is Joe, your exams, and the refuge. Well, it's not enough, Sarah.
What?
Joe is just the first in the long line of boyfriends between now and when you decide to get married. He's certainly not worth spoiling your future over. As for your exams, well, Dubai's got an English-speaking school that makes England look like it's living in the Stone Age. It's got a library, swimming pool, sports centre. That's one of the things I was checking on today. The refuge. I'm certainly not going to let you miss an opportunity like this, just to mollycoddle a bunch of down-and-outs.
You haven't listened to a word I've said, have you?
Yes, I have. But you haven't said anything to convince me that I should leave you here on your own.
But I wouldn't be on my own. I've got Tony and Auntie Cass.
No. Look, I know it's hard for you, but you're going to thank me for this one day. I know you will.
You keep saying how this is a great opportunity for me. But it isn't for me, is it, Dad? It's for you. You're doing what you want and everyone else has to fall into place.
So I'm being selfish now, am I? Wanting something better for you?
This isn't for me. You're just trying to control me like you always have done. Like you did with Tony and Mum.
You leave your mother out of this. You don't know what you're talking about.
Don't I? That's what happened, wasn't it, Dad? She couldn't stand you controlling her life anymore. Saying what she could do, where she could go. That is why she left.
She left because she was seeing another man.
Because you drove her to it.
No, because she was a slut. She always had been. That's why I wanted to know where she was going, who she was with.
She loved you. She loved all of us. And you drove her out. just like you drove Tony out and you're trying to do the same thing to me. You may not have a life, but I have, and you're not taking it away from me.
So I'm a lousy father, and I was a lousy husband. Is that it?
I didn't say that.
I think you'd better go to your room.
Dad, I'm 16. You can't just send me to my room.
Do as you're told.
No.
Get upstairs now, Sarah. I mean it!